welcome back to Three Rivers Stadium. For 30 years, the Steelers have ruled here. But only once that they have a losing home record, that was last season. Here's Brian Billick, who has the Ravens on the rise in his second year as head coach. 4-0 in the preseason, so that only means we're in good shape, ready to play in August. And his counterpart, Bill Cowher. His first 6 years as Steelers head man, 6 playoff teams, including one that went to the Super Bowl. No playoffs the last 2 years. Steelers on their home field have won the toss. To the left is Hank Poteet. He's a rookie from the University of Pittsburgh, and there is Matt Stover, a very, very good place kicker, into the ball for the Ravens, and NFL 2000 is underway in Pittsburgh. This is Poteet. So quick. Breaks it across the 30. Ball on the field. Steelers have it, and they'll start at their 37-yard line, so a nervous moment for Coach Cowher, but he got an extra 4 yards on the return on the fumble. Ainsley Battles, another rookie, was on the ball. Kent Graham will start at quarterback. He's been now with 4 different NFL teams, including the Giants twice. 33 career starts, and as pointed out earlier, he beat out Cordell Stewart in the preseason. Graham, a big rangy quarterback, 6'5", 240, not mobile. 33 starts. He's been sacked 85 times. If he gets time, he can put the ball anywhere it needs to be on the field. Throwing early, makes a connection as the ball is gunned out to Troy Edwards, and Edwards takes the ball close to the 40-yard line. Gain of about 4 yards on the play as we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense. Gandy had a very good summer. Faneca, the great Dermontti Dawson. A rookie starts at right tackle. That's Marvell Smith. Bettis and Whitman the backs. Plexico Burris. Troy Edwards the wideout.
This is an offense that has a lot of question marks, but Kent Graham has more confidence in an offensive line than he actually does his wide receivers. The wide receivers are young but inexperienced.
Handoff straight ahead, and Jerome Bettis, who's well rested, got very limited work in the summer. The bus now in his 5th year as a Steeler. Takes it straight ahead to bring up 3rd down and about 5 as we look at the Ravens on defense. Burnett, newly acquired Sam Adams, big Tony Siragusa in the sacker, McCrary across the front. Cornell Brown starts on 1st down. Ray Lewis, the leading tackler in the NFL, in the middle. Starks and McAllister the corners. Woodson and Herring are the safety.
Well, this is a defense that is one of the elite, and this really, you think about his team's strength, and it's that strength that's going to carry them to the playoffs. Kent Graham's going to take a quick timeout here. But the defense of the Ravens is one that this team could ride to the playoffs. We saw it last year in Tampa Bay. This offense for Baltimore is better than Tampa Bay's offense. So all things being equal, this is a deep playoff team.
Timeout. Graham had to burn one early. Called and I said, can't reveal that, but he seemed like a very optimistic guy who was getting ready to play today despite being on the bench at the outset.
Well, he's been through what he's been through here in Pittsburgh. He tends to get a little philosophical, and he can handle just about everything, and he's handled this very well.
Now 3rd down. Need a long 3. Graham airs it out. His receiver is taken down. But the official right there, Plexico Burris, they really slipped. Yeah, the Steelers aren't happy about it.
The crowd wanted an interference there on Dwayne Starks, but really Plexico Burris just slipped and fell down. There's no penalty there. It's a good no call.
Now Josh Miller comes in as we'll take a look again, Steve.
What's there? He just loses his feet, and Starks just falls on the back of his legs after both players go down. There are some wet spots, some damp spots on the turf, but that's going to happen. That's a good no call by the official.
Here is Josh Miller. Both teams with very good kicking games. Ball is boomed inside the 10. Wayne Lewis, who had an off season in '99 after 2 terrific years prior to that, brings the ball back and gets close to the 25-yard line, just short of it. 49-yard punt and an 18-yard return. As now we have Tony Banks coming out to quarterback the team.
Well, Tony Banks is a guy that, this is kind of, this opening day is like an unveiling of what we call the new Tony Banks. He's going to be content to take the short passes. He's one of those quarterbacks that's got one of those huge arms, and he loves to show it off. And it's been a chore for Brian Billick and his coaching staff to teach him to be content and treat a short pass as a victory rather than a defeat.
Yeah, they've really worked on his finesse throws, and he's been improved on them. But he's the key guy. His coach wants one more completion a half. He thinks that can take the team an enormous way over a 16-game schedule. He quarterbacked 4 wins in the Ravens' last 5 games last season. On first down to the run, and Priest Holmes moves straight ahead. Does very well. Coming in low. Holmes is taken down by Jason Gilden. A 5-yard gain on the play. We look at the Ravens now. Ogden maybe as good as there is a left tackle. And across the offensive front, the veteran Harry Swain, a right tackle, who's played in 3 Super Bowls. Holmes starts at running back. Shannon Sharp, in from 10 great seasons at Denver, starts at tight end.
And he's also joined by Ben Coates, the great one from New England, just acquired this offseason.
Double tight end start. Here is Priest Holmes weaving his way ahead. Not a big back, but he has tremendous numbers. He averaged 5.7 yards a carry in '99. Got 8 yards in that play before Joey Porter got him down. First down as we look at the Steelers across the defensive front. Joey Porter is becoming a force at outside linebacker. Chad Scott and Washington at the corners. Washington was torched by the Ravens last December, and Kadri Ismail caught 6 passes for 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. 3 long touchdowns and a Raven win. Hand off as they take the ball right at the Steelers. Ravens coming out with a power game. LaVon Kirkland, an inside backer, makes the stop, but there's another plus gain on the play. A gain of about 5 yards.
During the preseason, the Ravens showed absolutely no 2 tight end offenses. Ben Coates and Shannon Sharp were never on the field at the same time. And we got the feel of talking to him yesterday. That was going to be a big part of their offense here on opening day. They kept it under wraps. It was kind of secret, hush-hush kind of thing. But right now, with the success of the running game here early on, you kind of wonder if they're ever going to get away from that.
No, Coates is a tremendous power blocker. They come back to the run, and here is Priest Holmes. He gets struck hard. Ethan Flowers comes up from the secondary, makes the knockdown at about the 42-yard line. Gain of 3 yards on the play. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
One of the things about this offense is that so many guys have been acquired. Ben Coates there, the tight end from New England. Shannon Sharp, of course, from the Denver Broncos. These 2 guys have over 1,000 catches. They're the top 5 tight ends of all time in career catches. That's a great thing for it gives an offense a lot of flexibility.
And a very important Steeler, Earl Holmes, an inside linebacker, was shaken up on that play. He's being attended to.
Here you are sushi and wasabi.
Wasabi. Everything about everything for serious investors. And by Dodge. In a perfect world, everything would be different.
And back to live action on 3rd down and 2. Banks feathers a pass in, makes the connection out to the 48-yard line. And there's that short passing game you're referring to, Steve, as he puts it in very softly into the hands of Kadri Ismail. John Fiala brings him down, but it's a first down for the Ravens as they go to a short pass.
And that's one of the things that, and there's Earl Holmes, who just got up, and he seems to be shaking off an injury on the side. But this is an offense where if you're going to make your quarterback learn to throw shallow, is one way to do it is not send anybody deep. Nobody went more than 10 yards down the field on that play on the 3rd and short pass.
And the Ravens continue with a double tight end set. Now a swing pass thrown out to Priest Holmes. And tackled in the open field for a short gain. Well done by Chad Scott, who is a rising talent at left cornerback. The #1 draft choice back in '97. Had major knee surgery 2 years ago. But he's really looks like he's going to be a tremendous player for the Steelers.
He really is. They're very high on Chad Scott, and really one of the reasons John Mitchell, the new defensive back coach, came in when Tim Lewis became the coordinator, and Tim Lewis was laughing. He said, "Those guys never listened to me when I coached. Now they're listening to John Mitchell, and they're playing much better."
2nd down, 7. Tony Banks, 3-step drop. They give him time. Guns it to Ismail. And from the near side, a big hit is put on by Dwayne Washington, and he gets a tremendous ovation from the fans. He was the guy that was beaten so badly last December by Ismail.
That's got to feel very good to Dwayne Washington. He was scorched last year for 3 touchdowns by Kadri Ismail. He's been waiting for that hit for a long time.
I talked to Dwayne before the game, Steve, and asked him about Ismail last year and how he looks on today's game. He said, hey, my job's to stop him. I'm ready to do that. He just did for a 4-yard loss. Now it's 3rd down and 9. Banks and the Ravens from the shotgun. 3 wideouts. Rush coming hard. Banks fires to an open receiver, but he comes in low. Running the ball down to Travis Taylor, the rookie #1 draft choice in Florida. Big free safety. Scott Shields was running with them. Taylor was open, but it's incomplete. The Ravens will punt.
You'll watch here as Travis Taylor comes right down, just out inside edge of the numbers. And Tony Banks needs to put that ball. And that's one of the problems. Tony Banks has a big arm, but when the ball gets shorter, when the pass gets shorter, he has a little more trouble being accurate. And that sounds strange, but that's the problem that they've seen watching him on film, and they're trying to work on it.
Kyle Richardson to punt the ball. He has been terrific. Last year he had 39 punts that came down inside the 20-yard line. We're downed inside. This one carries in for a touchback. And that will give the Steelers the ball for a second time after a 51-yard punt, 31 net. Ball will be the Steelers at their 20-yard line. We come back to hot and humid Three River Stadium.
One day, everyone in the world
NCAA Basketball Championship.
Reinstated the Magic. Tony Banks missing on a 3rd down throw, an open receiver, so he goes over some stuff now on the sidelines. As after the Richardson punt, the Steelers take over the ball for a second time. 1st and 10. Grant with a timing throw. He's hit. Looks like the arm is coming forward. He better hope it is, because the Ravens, if it wasn't, have the ball. And the referee steps in and says it was a fumble. We'll see if the Steelers, Steve, call for a review.
It looks as though he might have picked this ball off before it hit the ground. Watch as Graham hits. He gets hit right in the chest. Bang. The ball pops up. Watch right there. Sam Adams might have caught that ball before it hit the ground. In any case, if that's the case, it doesn't matter whether his arm was going
quarterback fumble recovered by Baltimore. 1st down.
So the referee,
they're calling it a fumble on the field.
yeah, was right there, and he said it was indeed a fumble.
Sam Adams still caught that, I believe, before it hit the ground. That's what this defense can do. This is a dominating, suffocating defense. And it's up to the Steelers defense to keep pace with the Baltimore offense that has a couple of question marks, but has been hugely upgraded with personnel acquisitions.
Alfie's defense gave up very few points in the preseason. Steelers less than 12 a game. The Ravens less than 11 a game. Pitch back. Priest Holmes. Not much going on there as he gets it inside the 15-yard line. Got ahead for a gain of 1 yard. Levon Kirkland, who hasn't been to the Pro Bowl the past 2 years, but he is still one of the best inside backers in football. Number 99, he made the stop.
He's a leader of that defense, and one of the things about that defense, especially today, now they've only got 5 defensive linemen active, and I'm telling you, you were down there, it is hot on that field, and I think maybe later in the game, that may be a factor. They just don't have enough depth of those guys up front to stop the run like they may need to late in the game.
It's got to be at least 100 degrees now, and it'll warm up more. Banks stands in, fires hard, and it's dropped in the end zone. He had the ball on the hands of his receiver, Kadri Ismail. Dwayne Washington with him. It's an incomplete pass, though. It'll be 3rd down and 9 for the Ravens from the 14-yard line of the Steelers.
And that's a drop touchdown pass by the go-to guy for the Ravens. You watch here, this ball hits him right there, right on his back, and he's got to catch that. He'll tell you that as well. Watch that. Tony Banks made a good throw in there right on time, a little bit behind. He knows it. Thought he had a touchdown early here in the 1st quarter, but it didn't happen. That's going to come back to haunt Kadri Ismail. He's going to wish he had that one back.
3rd and 9. Banks fires. That's an open man. It's caught. And Obafemi Ayanbadejo is down close to the 6-yard line, short of a 1st down. Gain of 7 on the play. Coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report, Jim Nance, Craig James, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville, and Mike Ditka will catch you up on all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the New York Jets versus Green Bay Packers game. It's all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Kyle Richardson will hold now. Matt Stover in to kick.
We were talking about the NFL today. Those guys look all nice and cozy there in September. I want to see them in December when they have to be outside in New York.
A little lovely. It's a beautiful looking set, though. And here is Matt Stover, who hit his last 18 field goals last season, starting up right where he left off, knocking one through, and the visiting Ravens take a 3-0 lead.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Holiday Inn, who gives you more, and more is better. And by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
And back to Three Rivers Stadium, where Matt Stover, with his 19th consecutive field goal dating back to last season from 24 yards out, has given the favored Ravens a 3-0 lead. Big play, a turnover forced. Now the kickoff hit down to Hines Ward as he'll take it. Oh, man. That was a good move to Hawes. But he does get back to the 21-yard line, so he runs it back 23 yards. Usually he who hesitates gets knocked down about his 10-yard line.
That is not pretty when you have to hesitate to come out of there. That's the coaching staff and everybody on the sidelines goes, oh no.
CBS Sports coverage of the world's toughest tennis continues tomorrow at 11 a.m. with 3rd and 4th round coverage, the U.S. Open. Graham, if he has a shortcoming, as mentioned earlier, it is that he is not mobile. They've got to give him some time. Burnett put a lot of pressure on him the last time, coming in over the rookie Marvell Smith, the right tackle.
Yeah, that last sack was not Graham's fault.
The run and the carry on first down from the 21 is out just across the 25-yard line. Jerome Bettis takes it into Ray Lewis for a gain of 5 yards.
And Jerome Bettis and Ray Lewis bang heads more than anybody in the National Football League. These two teams play twice a year, and Jerome Bettis carries the ball a lot, and Ray Lewis makes a lot of tackles. Those guys know each other very well. They've traded paint a number of times.
Marvin Lewis, the D coordinator for the Ravens, told his guys, with the bus coming at you, you better bring an extra set of chin straps. Look at your helmet knocked around. Second down. Reverse, and it is completely blown up. Beautifully done by Rob Burnett, the 11-year veteran, who's at his best against the run. That was a reverse to Troy Edwards. And a disaster for the Steelers as he's knocked back for a huge loss.
Well, one of the things that happens, you don't run this at Rob Burnett. You run this at Michael McCrary. They ran this play in the wrong end. Rob Burnett is a technician. He's a guy that stays at home, plays his position. He knows what he's doing out there and holds his own. Mike McCrary is a guy who over-pursues, the guy you run an end around at. Rob Burnett is not the guy you want to run that play at.
There is Marvin Lewis, the architect of last season's Raven defense that graded out number 2 in the NFL and number 1 against the run. Graham, 3rd and long. After a 9-yard loss, gets the ball out for a short gain to Troy Edwards. But the extra D-back, Corey Harris, was there to get him quickly, and already the Steelers on their home field. Here's some boos start to roll down from the high reaches at Three Rivers. Brian Billick told us yesterday, Steve, that we hope to get the crowd turned to us by getting them down early.
Well, there's words around the National Football League that this crowd has been very, very anti-quarterback here in Pittsburgh for a long time. And if you can get some good plays defensively, this crowd will be out of the game and it'll turn into a home game for the visiting team very quickly.
Here's Josh Miller hitting the punt downfield. Penalty markers thrown. And starting to bring it back is Jermaine Lewis. He's taken down at the 38-yard line by John Fiella. A 51-yard punt, a 7-yard return, but there was a marker down on the play. That stops the clock with 4:26 to play in the first quarter.
There's actually two different officials who saw two different things. Well, they're sorting it out in the middle of the field.
This is the only game the Ravens will play the entire regular season on artificial turf. All the rest will be on natural grass.
And there's offsetting. There's unsportsmanlike conduct on the Steelers and holding on the Ravens. Now, since the Steelers are the kicking team, they're going to talk to the Ravens and see what they want to do.
Steve, certainly congratulations of a high nature in order for yourself, having been selected as the all-time NFL special teams player. You're on the team for the first 80 years of the league.
Yeah,
which is a tremendous honor and well-deserved.
I was thrilled. A guy called me and said he saw it on the website. Oh, great! It was one of those things where my mom logged on and voted for me. You know.
Yeah, no.
But I found out it was the Hall of Fame voters who voted on it. I got chills.
There were 2 fouls on the play. unsportsmanlike conduct, kicking team number 26, for failing to immediately return from out of bounds. Illegal block in the back, receiving team 86. We have offsetting fouls. Repeat, 4th down.
The reason they do that, yeah, what happened is after the penalty, what they'll do is they'll assess the penalty on the receiving team, and since it was an illegal block in the back from the point of the foul, it would have been back inside the 20-yard line. But if they take the unsportsmanlike conduct, do the Ravens, which they do, they move the kicking team back and make them kick further. They're going to get better field position if they accept the penalty and have them re-kick. So they're going to make Josh Miller try and kick a 65-yarder and try and get them backed up, and he's not going to be able to do that. They're going to get much better field position here after that penalty.
Josh Miller stands back at his 5-yard line. Left foots the ball very high. Well placed. Jermaine Lewis on the 35-yard line. He'll return it if he can. Finds a channel, and Jermaine Lewis breaks it. He came to camp in tremendous condition. Disappointed in his off showing of a season ago. He's been to the Pro Bowl as a kick returner. And yet another flag is down here, Steve.
Jermaine Lewis is a great returner. He had a phenomenal year, as you mentioned, 2 years ago. And now Brian Billick has said, you know what, I'm going to take him out of the mix as a receiver because he's such a potent weapon at return man. It kind of spread him too thin last year to have to play receiver and return kicks. I want him to concentrate on his kick returning. As you can see there, that's really going to help him have a much better year on special teams, returning kicks, and not having to worry about pass routes and coming in after a long pass route to return kicks and that kind of thing.
Jermaine, in his 5th year from the University of Maryland, he returned 2 punts for touchdowns in '97. Returned 2 more for touchdowns in '98.
To the face, kicking team number 56. The penalty is 10 yards from the end of the run. 1st down.
The Steelers are playing poorly. Mike Vrabel called for the foul.
Yeah, they're struggling right now. They've got to get it together very quickly, or Ravens are going to run away with this.
If you're looking for fierce competition, big plays, and clutch victories, watch football. For everything else, catch The Late Show with David Letterman. Only on CBS.
It is hot at Three Rivers Stadium. A temperature probably over 100 on the field, on mid-air temperature, and the stands well into the 80s. Could be a battle of attrition. The Steelers had lost one defensive lineman, a rookie, Hendrick Clancy. And here is Banks going for the end zone, and he overshoots again. So the new Tony Banks not hitting his guys. He's had open receivers.
And Kendrick Clancy, the defensive lineman, getting hauled off during the timeout there. He's going in for x-rays. And on a day like today, when it's so hot out, Kendrick Clancy is the 5th defensive lineman for the Steelers. Now they only have 4 guys that can play, and it's hot down there, and they're just getting started in this game.
Personal foul, chop block, offense number 33. The penalty is 15 yards. Repeat, 1st down.
Well, what that is, one of the offensive linemen was tangled up with a defensive lineman trying to block, and Priest Holmes came in to help, but came in too low. He cannot come in to help an offensive lineman unless he comes above the waist. And so many times, especially a guy like Priest Holmes, who's a small guy, you get so used to taking big guys on down low, it's almost a reflex. It's more of a reflexive action than it is a cheap shot.
Well, they need some long-distance action right now. 1st down coming up, and 25 from the 47. Banks stands in, lots of time. Long ball, open receiver, connection, and touchdown Ravens. Andre Ismail. This time burns Chad Scott. This is Ismail, who last December absolutely put on a Hall of Fame performance. 258 yards in receptions, 3 for touchdowns against the Steelers. That a 53-yard play, and the corner was never in the picture.
Well, Chad Scott, you'll watch here. I think he expects help from deep. He lets him go, and then his eyes turn around. He's looking for help deep, and he doesn't get it. He has absolutely no chance. And Chad Scott turns around with his arms out saying, wait a minute, that wasn't supposed to happen. And Kadri Ishmael says, you know what? I like playing in Three Rivers. This is like the 4th touchdown in 3 quarters for me.
He's coming off his best season, 68 catches last year for over 1,100 yards.
And he didn't catch any passes for the 2 years before that. That's amazing.
It is. The extra point is banged up and good by Matt Stover, and so the Ravens build an early 10-0 lead with 3:58 to play in the 1st quarter. Ravens kick off when we come back.
NFL.com, your source.
Steelers, he's feeling the pressure. Coming off a losing record. In fact, his teams have lost 15 of their last 21 games. 6 straight years. When he took over the job, they were in the playoffs, as mentioned. Now out of the playoffs the last 2 years.
One of the things about a Bill Cowher football team is they run the football. You think back to the early 90s, they had Barry Foster, they had Bam Morris, and then, of course, the last 6 years they've had Jerome Bettis, 4 or 5 years anyway, Jerome Bettis. But they had great offensive lines in front of those guys, and now with free agency, they've lost those guys, and their running game has not been able to take the pressure off a weak passing game, and they've paid the price for it.
There are the return men back for the Steelers, and this time, in his wisdom, they down the ball. Hines Ward takes it for a touchback. Steelers will start at their 20. Get live updates for each NFL game as it happens. Just click on live scores at cbs.sportsline.com. Interesting beginnings. Carolina out in front of heavily favored Washington 10-7 in the first quarter. New England up on vaunted Tampa Bay 3-0 in the first quarter. Cordell Stewart, could we possibly see him out of the game before long?
Well, Kent Graham has struggled, but it hasn't been all his fault. He's had people in his face very quickly, very early in this game.
And he needs somebody who can get out of the pocket and roll out. Instead, find a way to beat that. Here is Jerome Bettis coming off tackles, landing to the outside and getting close to the 24-yard line. Gain of about 4 on the play. The bus has had a hard time with the Ravens.
And that's per game over the course of the season. And it's a guy they depend on. I mean, he has got to be there for them. Their run game is one constant that has been there all through their playoff years and has evaporated in the last 2 years. They needed to return.
Again, Kent Graham is leveled as he releases the ball. The Ravens have held the last 2 times they've met. They've held Jerome Bettis to barely 2 yards rush. Michael McCrary, who had 11.5 sacks last year, got a clean shot on the quarterback, Kent Graham.
I'll tell you what, it's a good thing Kent Graham's a big guy because he's going to take some punishment. I mean, Mike McCrary is a guy that every offense in the National Football who plays against the Ravens is going to have to game plan for him. You have to know where he's at. He's going to have to come out of the game after this sack. He might have hurt himself hitting Graham so hard.
Well, that's a turn of fortune. You hit a guy so hard that you're hurt.
Yeah. I mean, he came through. I mean, he made one move and came through, had about a 2-step run at Kent Graham and just pounded him.
3rd down and 6 now. As you see, 3:18 to play in the first quarter. Steelers with virtually no offensive yards, just 2 yards. Now Graham somehow finds a way out. Throws the ball downfield, but he's short. Graham losing his footing, getting up, and then throwing an incomplete pass. So the Steeler offense totally ineffective, comes off the field again, 3 and out. And once again, the punter Josh Miller comes up to punt from deep in his own end.
That was as ugly a throw as you'll ever see from an NFL quarterback. Kent Graham got up, looked like he had plenty of time, tried to gather himself and throw it just a little bit on the run. Watch how this ball comes out of his hand. You've got to get up and have enough poise to put enough on this. This ball flutters out of there. I don't know whether it got batted at the line of scrimmage. It looked like it got shot by a shotgun. But that was a very ugly throw down the field. Kent Graham got up, tried to make something happen out of a broken play, and had guys down the seams.
Looked like something that passed you to shoot with a shotgun. A wounded duck, almost end over end. So Coach Cowher paces the sideline trying to, or that's Coach Billick. And Cowher pacing on the other side as Jermaine Lewis now back standing at his 30-yard line.
Right now, Jermaine Lewis is returning. I've been back there. You have a couple of good returns. You can't wait for the kick to get there so you can try it again. You really feel like you can go the distance when you've had a couple of really good opportunities.
He almost broke the last one. Turned it over 25 yards, a high punt, arc downfield. Jermaine Lewis will run it back. They set up the return left. Lewis breaks into the coverage and a penalty marker's fired in on a blocking foul against the Ravens. Deshae Townsend of the Steelers made the stop along with Richard Huntley. 44-yard punt and an 8-yard return.
And this is, you know this is opening day, but hey, this is the regular season. You're worried about the penalties that keep happening. And, there's been a lot of speculation of how they're going to work the quarterbacks here in Pittsburgh.
Receiving team, number 56. The foul occurred during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
With the quarterback situation here in Pittsburgh, how long do they stay with Kent Graham? I think they got to give him at least a half. I mean,
absolutely.
they're not going to jerk this guy out right away. I mean, he's had guys in his face all day, and the passes that he's been able to get off have been very accurate, except for the last one where he slipped and fell down and got it off and hurried it. But I think Bill Cowher's going to stick with him. I think he's going to give him a chance to be successful, and if it comes down to it, maybe give Cordell Stewart a chance to save it at the end. But I think for now he's going to stick with Kent Graham.
Well, one of Cordell's best plays is the quarterback draw, and that's about all they can run against this rush run now. There is a handoff, and running with the ball for not very much is Priest Holmes, a free agent out of the University of Texas. Straight line runner and a good one. Career average almost 5 yards a carry.
The Steeler defense is the strength of the Steeler team. There's no question about it. Just like in the old days, this is a bunch of guys who run. They take great pride in what they do. And really, they know that if this team's going to do anything this year, it has to start with them. And they feel like they're going to be up to the challenge. It starts with that guy, Levon Kirkland. He's the leader.
And Joey Porter, a rising talent at outside linebacker, he really changes the picture with all his speed. Swing pass, open man. That's Priest Holmes on the run for a first down and more. As on 2nd and 10, he gets ahead for a gain of 14 yards and a first down. Now let's go to Jim Nantz in New York at our studios on 5th Avenue. Jim?
All right, Don, in the first quarter, Edgerrin James fumbled at the 3, recovered by the Chiefs, but not this time. 3rd and goal, and James powers his way across. Colts lead 7-0 down in Kansas City. And let's go back to Don and Steve.
Thank you, Jim. Banks throwing the ball, 6 of 8 for 80 yards and a touchdown. 57-yarder to Ismail. Here's a throw and a catch. Big Ben Coates. Between them, these two tight ends they've acquired, Sharp and Coates, have over 1,100 receptions, 94 for touchdowns.
Yeah, Ben Coates, that's typical Ben Coates football right there. He comes out, gets into the linebacker, and turns away from the linebacker, and the ball's there. He's just so big, they can't reach around him. That's a guy who has caught so many footballs because he's such a big target, has that ability to put himself between the ball and defender, and he has great, soft hands. And he showed up in surprisingly good shape from Brian Billick's point of view.
He was in great shape. Ben Coates, 5 times a Pro Bowler with the Patriots. Again, they go to Priest Holmes as he breaks it ahead on a 2nd down and 5 carry. And is taken down by Earl Holmes. Good to see Earl back on the field. Shaken up earlier, number 50. And this will bring up 3rd down and short.
Yeah, you talk to Earl Holmes and the rest of those guys on the Steeler defense. They want this Steeler defense to be like it once was when they played just a couple of years ago. Teams actually, and I'm telling you, I was on with some of those teams. You did not want to come into Three Rivers against this defense. They were big, nasty. You respected them to death. I mean, they had some guys who could play, and this crowd was on their side, and it was tough to play. And that's what the guys on this defense want to get back to. And there's Tim Lewis, their coordinator, who has really, it's his job to get them to that point.
And a stick made by Kevin Henry, number 76, shedding the block. A head-on tackle, and that stops the Ravens on 3rd and a yard, so they have to punt the ball. So the Steelers get their best moment of this game as the first quarter winds down and almost out. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Ravens 10, the Steelers nothing. We'll return to Pittsburgh after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
We started out a pretty small business, but it sure wasn't small to us.
4th down and 1.
Don Criqui with Steve Tasker back at Three Rivers Stadium. A punt hit downfield by Kyle Richardson, angles out of bounds. He is the master of placing punts. 38% of his punts last season were inside the 20-yard line. This one will be spotted at the 15-yard line. So the Steelers with a tall stand on 3rd down, 3rd and short, stopping the run on the hit by Kevin Henry. Now a well-placed punt by Richardson. Backs the Steelers up 1st and 10 at their 15 when we come back to Three Rivers Stadium with the visitor in the lead 10-0.
Hey, Mark, you order all this food.
Smith had that phenomenal game. It was still a close game. 31-24 Ravens.
And that last graphic you just saw, that's 2 total yards for the Pittsburgh offense in 4 possessions. That's not going to get it done.
Throw now as they find a back open. That's the bust. Jerome Bettis as he takes it across the 22-yard line. 7-yard gain on the play. 2nd down and 3. Tackled by Keith Washington. As we look at those first 4 possessions, the fumble was critical.
2 yards total, and the fumble did hurt him, but they had another series that was minus 2 yards in a punt. I mean, that's just not going to get it done. And that spells trouble for this offense if they can't get it on punt. And this is an offense that's trying to find itself, no question. They've got to do better than that.
2nd down and 3. Graham is 3 for 6 for 14 yards. Throwing a catch as he gets the ball to the near side to the rookie from Michigan State, Plexico Burris. Catches it on McAllister. And a huge ovation, and kind of derisive really, as the Steelers get a first down in the 2nd quarter finally.
Well, these home fans have watched the Baltimore offense get 109 yards in the 1st quarter. And their team finally gets a first down. They kind of say, okay, finally, and they kind of give a, as you said, a sarcastic cheer.
How about Michael Bates of Carolina running that kickoff 92 yards for a touchdown. Against the Redskins, here is Bettis as they key on him and the former Steeler Rod Woodson. A sure first ballot Hall of Famer, played 10 seasons here in Pittsburgh, then went to the Ravens as a free agent. Went to the Pro Bowl for them last year.
Gets a nice little boo, but this is why this defense is so good. They've got a lot of veterans. Rod Woodson is one of the great players to ever play on defense in this league. Ray Lewis and the rest of them, they are so good at what they do, not only because they're physically gifted, but because they are smart, and they've been around, they've got experience, and they know when to gamble.
He, of course, joined you, Steve, in that all-century team, did Rod Woodson. On 2nd and just over 10. Swing pass, ball is caught. Richard Huntley putting that move and gets all the way out to the 38-yard line and very close to a first down. Beautifully done by Huntley. An 11-yard gain.
Now, Huntley last year averaged over 6 yards a carry. This is a guy that really played well while Jerome Bettis struggled a little bit with some injuries.
Huntley puts up the numbers. I mean, the guy averaged over 6 yards a rush last year and had scored 8 touchdowns to lead the Steelers. That was a big play. Long yardage play. He gets what he needed, 11 and a first down. Steelers offense, it looks like it's settling in a bit more against this very aggressive attacking Raven defense. Play fake. Graham takes a look, makes the throw, and he catches, and then the ball's lost. Off the hands of Jerome Bettis at the 43-yard line. As we go now back to Jim in New York for this update.
All right, we're going to stay in the Central Division. Jacksonville and Cleveland, scoreless first quarter, but now the Jags hit the end zone. Brunell, Jimmy Smith, 2-yard hookup, 7-0 Jags. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
Thank you, Jim. Jacksonville Jaguars, a most unusual season, best record in the NFL last year. They were 15-3 when it was all over after the playoffs. 0-3 against the Titans, 15-0 against the rest of the league. As we look at total offensive numbers, Steelers still with no rushing yards. Here is a throw against Bruner, who's maybe the best blocking tight end in the NFL. They haven't thrown to him much. 26 receptions in 95 his rookie year, with the most he's ever caught.
I think it's one of the things about this Steeler and Bill Cowher. His running game is going absolutely nowhere. So you know what? He says, we're going to throw the football. Forget it. Just tank it. We're going to throw the football to everybody. Spread it around. Let Kent Graham find his openings and throw the football to whoever is there. And that's, that's a good way to go, because this is a defense that is difficult to run on. And if you're going to be one-dimensional, at least make it productive.
Well, Graham now 6 of 10 throwing the ball for 37 yards. Standing in, here comes the blitz. He gets the ball away. It's incomplete as Robert Bailey was the guy who came on a safety blitz, number 35.
And that's a perfect blitz down. Is 3rd and 5. Bring an extra guy. Let him throw the pass quick and make the tackle.
Tonight on 60 Minutes, there's no world leader Al Gore and George Bush who'd rather have a heart-to-heart talk with than the man Mike Wallace has a heart-to-heart talk with, the president of China. That's tonight on 60 Minutes.
How would you like to lead 6 billion people, or how many people in China? That's a lot of responsibility.
A little short of 6, but there's a lot. Karam's into the end zone on the punt for a touchback. A 56-yard punt by Josh Miller, and the Ravens will take over the ball at their 20-yard line. leading the game 10-0.
What would happen if an SUV...
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Coors. When you're an original, you do it your own way. Original Coors. Pennzoil with Pure Base. Protection so strong, you can see the difference. And by Mazda. Mazda. Get in, be moved.
Welcome back to Pittsburgh on opening day 2000. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. A great year kicking off today that culminates with Super Bowl 35 here on CBS from Tampa, Florida. And this Raven defense, while it was out there, looking as good as advertised, Steve.
It really does. They want to pitch a shutout every single time they're on the field, and right now they've got it going.
And they have held the Steelers scoreless so far. As there's a
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 87. 5-yard penalty remains. First down.
Andre Ismail moved a bit early, so it'll be first down and 15.
And listen, Qadri Ishmael's a guy we said earlier, didn't catch a ball for 2 years in the National Football League. Got a chance to come in and play here in Baltimore for this team and caught over 1,000 yards worth of passes last year. Quite a story here, and he's become their go-to guy as a receiver.
His confidence way up, and with good reason. Now to the run they go, a draw play trying to offset a big pass rush. And Levon Kirkland makes the stop. What football history has unfolded here at Three Rivers over its 30 years. Art Modell, he's had so many problems, first with the Browns and now at the Ravens, winning here. Art Modell making a statement that's worth listening to, that in the 40 years he's owned this franchise, now the Ravens, this he believes is his best team.
Yeah, and that guy Brian Billick, who you just saw on the sidelines, there's a big reason why. That guy has really put together something special in Baltimore.
He has delivered the goods. They were 8-8 last year with the Ravens with 4 losses by 3 points or less. Here's a throw to an open receiver. Penalty markers down. And if the play goes, it'll be a gain all the way out to the 45-yard line. As Travis Taylor, a very good-looking rookie receiver from Florida, is ahead for 28 yards. But there's a holding call. Now it's a foul call against the Steelers.
An illegal hands, and hands to the face on the defensive lineman. And every time you see a flag in that area, you just know it's going to be offensive holding. And everybody was shocked when it went the other direction. You rarely see that called against a defensive lineman.
Illegal hands to the face, defense number 67. The penalties declined. The pass was complete for a first down.
The Ravens are averaging over 7 yards a play so far in this game. Pittsburgh is averaging a half yard a play.
Well, the Ravens, they came into the season with some question marks offensively, not because they didn't have great players. They acquired both those 2 tight ends plus a fullback, Sam Gash, who was in the Pro Bowl, but they hadn't played together, and they had a quarterback in Tony Banks who's a little bit unproven.
Banks playing well today, 8 of 10 for 113 yards and a touchdown, and Priest Holmes playing well as he turns the corner on the Steelers and slams it at him on a first down carry. He's ahead for a gain of about 14 yards.
Watch how Priest Holmes gets to the corner. The blocking is superb at the point of attack. Jonathan Ogden gets out front. You can't get around him. He's 6'9", 350 pounds. He's as good as there is in the league. He's paid that way, and he plays that way. Jonathan Ogden is a phenomenal. And Priest Holmes is a guy who came up and is really, through the strength of his character, has made himself valuable to this team. This is a guy who his teammates love and who stands up to his responsibilities. A real pro. The guys love him, and he's really stepped up to the plate for this franchise.
Came as a free agent amidst all these high draft choices. 9 former number 1s on the Ravens roster.
The PGA Championship.
I don't believe it. We're back to Three Rivers Stadium, where the Ravens have methodically worked out to a 10-0 lead. Had that in the first quarter. Big play, the 57-yard touchdown throw to a wide-open Andre Ismail. And not much going on there as Priest Holmes now has 12 carries in the game. Brent Alexander, Kevin Henry make this. The fugitive is again on the run. has been Priest Holmes. He's outgained the Steelers almost double their yardage. Priest Holmes getting a lot of work going. Not a big back at 5'9", 205, but durable and a good catcher of the ball. Now, Banks is hit hard. They're going to rule it to fumble. Now it looked like it was coming forward. Phil Luckett steps in and he's waving it off as an incomplete pass.
Yeah. Incomplete pass.
Yeah, his arm came through. The crowd isn't happy about it, but that's Joey Porter who has really come on. And Joey Porter last year had a great year when he was in there. He flashed, and showed signs of greatness. And now this year, his one goal is to prove that he can do it every down. When they give him a chance to play every down, he's going to come in and be a great one. And that's a great example of what he can do for a team. He's just so fast.
Well, I say they haven't had that speed on the edge from the linebacker position, Steve, since Greg Lloyd was here. He's a difference maker. Joey Porter getting better all the time, and nobody works harder at it. Now in 3rd down and 10. Banks steps in, fires the ball downfield, not close. And Banks takes a shot from Kimo von Oelhoffen, the nose tackle, just as he releases the ball. They really like Oelhoffen. Signed as a free agent from the Bengals. One of the reasons they signed him is because Dermontti Dawson, the all-world center of the Steelers, said he was as tough as anybody he faced to block.
Yeah, and Tony Banks just throws that. He wasn't ready to throw it. He got rid of that in the face of the rush. The receiver wasn't out of his break. That play developed slower on the offensive side than it did on the defensive side, and Tony Banks paid the price.
Bobby Shaw is now back for the Steelers. A high punt. Angled to the near side, and again it is placed out of bounds beautifully by Kyle Richardson of the Ravens. This one will be spotted at the 11-yard line. A 32-yard punt and no return by the expert Kyle Richardson.
For 16 years, John Elway played for one team in one city. 16 years. In today's sports world, that's something you don't expect to hear.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Gateway, where people rule, and by Avaya, communication without boundaries.
The Pittsburgh Steelers still have no yards rushing. Trailing in the game 10-0. And again, starting from deep in their own end with Kent Graham at quarterback. Handoff. Ennis, both arms on the ball, and he takes it in the low with the Ravens defense. A defense that allowed the opposition just 3.1 yards a rush last season, low number in the NFL.
And Jerome Bettis didn't get 3.1 yards on that carry either. And this is, at this point, this is a defense that's really already at mid-season form, and it's an offense they're playing against. So the Pittsburgh Steelers is still trying to find itself a little bit. Jerome Bettis did not take very many snaps in the preseason, and of course Kent Graham only played half the time at quarterback in his battle with Cordell Stewart.
Yeah, they wanted Jerome to come in with fresh legs. He has those, but he has no gaps to get into against this tough Raven defense. Graham, long ball, overshoot, and good coverage. Dwayne Starks, number 22, running stride for stride along with Kim Herring.
The reason Kent Graham is in the game, and they made the switch at Cordell, because let's face it, Bill Cowher hitched his wagon to Cordell Stewart a few years ago, and he has not unhitched it until this year. Kent Graham was just more efficient in the offseason, in the offense in the preseason. He just completed more passes, showed more poise in the pocket. And Bill Cowher, in his words, is, my gut tells me Kent Graham gives us a better chance.
Not yet. Edwards running that deep pattern. We'll see if he does again now on 3rd down and 8. Graham lofts it over. A screen is set up, and Huntley's on the run. Turns the corner and then trips over his own guy, and he's down at about the 14-yard line. So the Steelers, 3 and out, will have to punt the ball from deep in their own end again.
He tripped over Dermontti Dawson there. That's the all-world center. Dermontti saw him coming and tried to hit the deck. Yeah. As if there was fire coming at him. He tried to get down, and you see there as he just dives on the ground, tries to get down. And Huntley just couldn't jump high enough to get over Dermontti. You don't see that guy make very many mistakes.
Well, he's been great. 7 times an all-pro player. 171 straight starts till he had the injury problems last year and missed 9 games in almost 10. Big hunt. Wow. Jermaine Lewis fielding it over the shoulder. Excellent special teams. That was Joey Porter, number 55, a second-year linebacker out of Colorado State. An impact hitter, and he, as you saw there, is fast.
Yeah, he's also that starting outside linebacker, the guy that almost forced Tony Banks into a turnover, and that's why he's a great player. You can't teach speed. You can't. I mean, guys come into this league and they're fast, but they don't play fast. And there's other guys who aren't fast on a clock, but they play a lot faster. This guy's both. He's fast and he plays even faster. The guy's got a lot of physical ability. They're looking for big things from him, and he really wants to come through for this defense.
Brings speed and emotion to the Steeler defense. Preston Ting now for Banks and the Ravens. Quick out, near side, a hitch to Travis Taylor. He's tripped up. As getting him on the field is Chad Scott. A gain of only about 4 yards on the play. This receiver from Florida, Travis Taylor, Steve, he is really a fluid, good-looking player.
You can tell right there that they have a lot of faith, and they think the upside to Travis Taylor is huge. When they just want to find ways like this is just a long handoff. They want to get the ball in his hands somehow, some way, because he is an athlete, and they think he can do something with the ball in his hands.
He was the 10th player picked in the entire draft last April. Ravens also have the number 5 overall pick. And a running back we've not seen yet from Tennessee, Jamal Lewis. Priest Holmes runs. John Fiala is on the stop along with Keevan Henry. And that's going to bring up 3rd down and about 5. Game clock down to 6 minutes to play.
Here's Brian Billick. I think at this point, he'd like his offense to be a little more efficient. He'd like getting a couple of first downs. This is an offense that Brian Billick loves the big play as an offensive coordinator. And Tony Banks, that guy right there, thrives on that with his big arm as well.
Banks a shuffle pass. Priest Holmes, and he's ahead on 3rd and 5 for a gain of 8 yards and a first down. As he advances the ball out close to the 39-yard line. So Brian Billick, Steve, is said to have 8,000 plays in his computer. That's one he doesn't pull out too often.
That's right. And you know, it's funny when you talk about him, and you see there, that's Jeff Mitchell, the center, who's down. But as Brian Billick is a guy who's a laptop guy. I mean, he's a computer whiz, and he stores all those plays in his playbook. And it's funny, you hear, we've said a lot about the players that they've acquired in this offseason. And just before he went on vacation, he got the opportunity, and Ozzie Newsome said, what if we could get not only Shannon Sharpe, but also Ben Coates? You see, here's the replay right there. It's hard to see what happened to Mitchell there on the play. But that's Shannon Sharpe, and they already had him signed before Brian Billick went on vacation. And Ozzie Newsome came to Brian Billick and said, hey, how about if we get Ben Coates too? And Brian Billick came back after his vacation and said, you absolutely ruined my vacation. He was making plays on napkins. He was drawing plays in the dirt. He was drawing plays on pieces of wood.
You got to spend a lot of time to put together 8,000 plays.
I'm telling you, well, you accumulate those. You didn't get them all in 1 year.
8,000. I mean, this is an astrophysics. Yeah. How can you have 8,000 plays?
Well, you think about all the different personnel combinations, and especially with the 2 great tight ends he has, there's so much flexibility you can do with 2 guys. I mean, you see there, these are 3 guys, and all 3 of the guys in gold there, Ozzie Newsome, Shannon Sharpe, and Ben Coates, they all work for the Ravens.
Well, Ozzie Newsome is a Hall of Fame tight end from his days with the Browns, but you talk to people around this league, he's rising to Hall of Fame status as
an executive,
head of player personnel, and he's done a brilliant job for the Ravens as they've really built this team. You look at the Ravens lineup, and it's almost like an all-star team. I mean, they've got a lot of good players.
Now, as you see, Jeff Mitchell just got taken off the field. Mike Flynn, the right guard, will move in and be center now. And as you see there, big number 74, Orlando Bobo, is now the right guard. So that's 2 people who had to switch positions because of 1 injury, and that's what happens in the offensive line. We'll see if it affects the offense.
On first down, the handoff goes to Priest Holmes, and he breaks it, beating tacklers all the way out to the 49-yard line. A gain of just over 10 yards and a first down on the play. And Olhoffen had a shot at him, but couldn't get him down.
Well, that's what Priest Holmes does. Just see the guys up front, they fire out, and you got a new guy in there right away, Orlando Bobo, and you run right over the top of him, get him into the game very quickly, and he's got to feel very good about that. Even though they had a chance in the backfield, that's a play that went for 10+ yards. Get your offensive lineman who just came in the game, give him a chance to get his lip bloodied a little bit right off the bat.
Good shot in the mouth to get him warmed up. Jamal Lewis, that vaunted rookie, is now as the I-back. Here's his first carry as a Raven. No gain. Middle of the Steeler defense keying on him. Jamal Lewis is something. He was the 5th pick overall. 5'11", 235 pounds. He delivers a hit on tacklers, an inside runner with great speed. He's a power runner. It was clocked in 4.37 for the 40.
And
Those are Tasker kind of numbers.
Yeah, right. You see there the bandage on his left elbow. That's the one he dislocated. And he's a big, natural runner with a lot of instinct. They got high hopes for him, but they just want to get him sprinkled in here a little bit in this first game. Just get his feet wet a little bit.
Now they go right back to Priest Holmes. Banks sidestepping the tacklers nicely, and then he runs out of time and is knocked down on a 2nd and 10 play for a loss of 2 yards. Mike Vrabel, who had a great camp, 4th-year backer out of Ohio State. Tenacious run stopper.
And this is a coverage sack. I mean, Tony Banks buys himself some extra time here. You watch here, and he's looking down the field and then can't find anybody open. And then he has to tuck it and run. Now, that's one of the things that a quarterback needs to do. I mean, yeah, he could throw that football away, or he could eat it. But one of the things that they teach quarterbacks to do is just try and get back to the line of scrimmage. Don't take too big a negative when the play comes apart.
On 3rd and long, fires and makes a connection, and this is a first down as the linesman comes in. They might have to measure. That was Travis Taylor. This guy's terrific.
Yeah, he's had a couple of very nice catches, and I think he's going to be a little short.
Got 13 yards. He needed 13 and a half. We'll see if the spot might be inches short. Yeah, there definitely is.
And Tony Banks looked very good in the pocket, stayed with his receiver. I believe he came off to Travis Taylor after looking to the other side of the field, which is something that Brian Billick would love to see Tony Banks be able to do, is find those secondary receivers. But Travis Taylor, I mean, you look at this Baltimore team, they got Travis Taylor, who was the top 10 pick. They got Jamal Lewis. They signed Sam Gash, who was in the Pro Bowl last year. Both those big tight ends who we've talked about. Brian Billick, he came in last year and had nobody offensively at the skill positions that he could depend on. And now he's hip deep in not just talent, but proven talent. I mean, he's just got to feel so much differently coming into this year than he did a year ago.
One of the things they like very much about Travis Taylor, Steve, is what they call yak yards, YAC yards, yards after the catch. He's a tackle breaker, 6'1", 200.
Yeah, he'll be as big as most of the defensive backs he'll face all year, and that's a big plus for a receiver.
He was the MVP last January in the Citrus Bowl against Michigan State when he caught 11 for 156. Match status rose, and now on 4th down, the Ravens power the ball with Priest Holmes carrying behind the left side. The great tackle Jonathan Ogden leading the blockers.
Yeah, I don't think you have to be a rocket scientist to know who you want to run behind in a 4th and a foot. I mean, Jonathan Ogden is as good an offensive tackle that has ever played in the National Football League. He's a physical specimen, and he's smart, he's technique oriented,
well, they say he looks a lot of times like he's nonchalant, but he's so graceful on his feet.
He makes it look very easy. It's effortless. But
he's also very wealthy.
Yeah, he is now. He's the highest paid offensive lineman in the history of the National Football League, and you hear us gushing about him. This guy, when you hear people who know talk about it, especially his teammates, and a guy like Michael McCray, who's in the Pro Bowl, he has to go against that guy every day in practice, and that's one way to get to the Pro Bowl.
He knows where to put that money, too. His dad's an investment banker in Washington. His mother's an attorney there.
His dad's going to open up his own office, I think, now. I don't know who he works for.
Right.
He's working for his son now.
The Ogden account. The Jonathan Fund. Ball position at the 40-yard line. 1st down and 10. Ravens executing very well. The Ravens not only had a 4-0 preseason, the Ravens have won 12 straight preseason games over the last 3 years. The last team to do that was the Packers back in the early 60s. Timeout on the field now as the 2-minute warning is given at Three River Stadium. James, Cross, Glanville, and Ditka, nicely positioned by Central Park on 5th Avenue, New York. They'll have all the scores and highlights, plus a preview of the Jets-Packers game, all coming up on the NASDAQ.com halftime report. Banks makes a throw, and he gets Ismail, who's running in the open field down to the 20-yard line. So Qadry Ismail, with all that speed, breaking off the right flank over the middle of the field for a gain of 20 yards. And Banks certainly taking to the coaching provided him a much more effective short-range passer.
And that's going to be key for this offense. I mean, it's one thing to hit for the big play, which the Ravens are known to do. It's another thing to be consistent in your short passing game. It's just one more facet that Brian Billick feels his offense is really going to make strides in this year.
Pitch back to Priest Holmes. He's met hard. Earl Holmes, an inside backer, comes across, gets a shot on him. Also on the play was Joey Porter and John Fiala. As the game clock winding down now to 1:10, as you see left to play in the first half.
Yeah, you talk about this offense for the Ravens. You see there, look at that guy. I grew up watching him, Franco Harris. He's been in a couple of opening days here in Pittsburgh.
Over 11,000 yards rushing. All the great games played here.
He played in a good offense too, much like this Ravens offense.
Now a timeout. Dan Rooney, the president of the Steelers, when one of the most popular moments at the Hall of Fame this year I was at, it was of course inducted into the Hall of Fame. He was presented before the game with his Hall of Fame ring. And we'll be taking a look at a little bit of that at halftime back to Three Rivers in a moment. Hall of Fame in Canton, and like his father, Dan Rooney has become a signal figure in the growth and success of the NFL. Today he's being presented his Hall of Fame ring. Right now he's watching his Steelers trying to stop the Ravens, who are attacking again late in the first half, as Priest Holmes continues to grind out the yards. Just a tough straight line runner, getting in low at 5'9", a 9-yard gain.
Now they're in a no huddle hurry up inside 2 minutes, and we'll see how effective they can be. And that's just to give them a chance to come over and talk things over and stop the clock. With 30 seconds left, there's plenty of time here for them to take a couple of shots at the end zone if they would like, even to run the football in this situation, although now it's second down. But you're right, when you talk about this Pittsburgh Steelers franchise and the Rooney family, they are truly beloved not only in Pittsburgh but all over the National Football League. And they have made it difficult for guys like that to come in here and win games consistently.
Well, over the years, in the 30 years of Three Rivers, the Steelers have won over 72% of their home games, but they've lost 6 of their last 8. Monday on CBS begins with an all-new Big Brother. America's already kicked 4 people out of the Big Brother house. Who's the next to go? Don't miss an all-new Big Brother. Then it's The King of Queens, starring Kevin James and Jerry Stiller, followed by Monday's #1 comedy, Everybody Loves Raymond, plus Ted Danson as Becker and Family Law. It's all Monday on CBS.
Day here in Three Rivers as the coin was flipped, a commemorative coin, and they also started the game with a commemorative football on the kickoff. And as soon as that play, and they're talking to Mr. Rooney as Chuck Noll, who, if you grew up watching the National Football League, you know that guy's face.
Handoff. Priest Holmes on second down takes it inside the 10-yard line. And the middle of the Steeler defense shuts it down as Brian Billick, very vocal on the sideline. Very well-prepared team into alignment without a huddle. 11 seconds left. He'll try one throw, then kick the field goal. And it's almost picked off. Incomplete, and that brings up 4th down. And so the kicking team will come out. Earl Holmes slapped the ball back.
Earl Holmes was a heartbeat away from going the distance with that play. Watch this. Qadry Ismail thinks he's got to play, and Earl Holmes steps up. And that was just a great play by the linebacker, although he didn't pull it in. He smelled that play out, was right in the perfect spot, and Brian Billick is not very happy with that throw.
Matt Stover, in his 11th year from Louisiana Tech, originally a 12th round draft choice of the New York Giants back in '90, looking to extend his consecutive field goal streak to 20 in a row, which he does in a workmanlike fashion, booting it up and through from 26 yards out. And the Ravens continue to build their lead, 13-0 on the final play of the first half. That's the end of the first half with a score: the Ravens 13, the Steelers nothing. We'll be sending you back to Jim Nance on 5th Avenue in New York right after these messages.
The new CBS Friday.
Kickoff 2000 on CBS. Opening day at Three Rivers Stadium. The final home opener the Steelers will ever play in the stadium. And right now, they've had very little offense, trailing the Ravens by a score of 13-0. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker. When we met with Brian Billick, the coach of the Ravens, yesterday, he assessed his defense, saying, I wouldn't trade these guys for any defense in the league, with all due respect to teams like Tampa Bay, and they've shown it today, Steve.
Yeah, they're trying to pitch a shutout here today, and you'll see here they're getting a lot of pressure on Kent Graham. One of the early things that happens, they just burst through. Looked like they were untouched. Watch here, bang, right in the face. They got that. That was a turnover that led to 3 points. Later on, another pressure right here. Rob Burnett stuffing the reverse in the backfield, not only on defense, but it looks like this offense may find itself much earlier than they anticipated. They thought this offense might have need a couple of weeks under its belt before it really hit on all cylinders, but today they look very consistent and very poised, especially in the running game.
Well, as we look at the first half numbers, you see a tremendous disparity in the Steelers with virtually no running game.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, there's no secrets on that board. That's total domination by the Baltimore Ravens.
So the Ravens are ready now to receive to start the third quarter of play. Very well played first half by the Baltimore Ravens as they come in playing football as good as advertised, and they are a team many believe are rising to the elite level. This is Kadri Ismail fielding the kickoff, working his way, turning the corner, and Kadri Ismail looking to beat the kicker, and finally he is taken out of bounds by Chris Brown, man who kicked off for the Steelers. So Steelers special teams playing with less than passion on that.
That's what you'd like to see on a return as a return team, but the kicker making the tackle, he played that actually very well, did Chris Brown. Kind of took a face mask or straight arm in the face, but don't try and make a big tackle, just run the returner out of bounds.
38-yard return by Kadri Ismail, who apparently is not out of breath. He's going right out as a wide receiver, set to the right, to the far side of the screen as they open up. Our set, coming out with double tight ends, and Priest Holmes ready to run the ball on first down. Holmes straight ahead, takes it across midfield, and he takes it down to the 48-yard line. And you talk to any offensive lineman, Steve, and they'll tell you they'd much rather run block than pass block. Maybe that's what the Ravens are going to do a lot of in the second half here.
One of the things about this Ravens offense, and it happened here last year in Three Rivers Stadium, they came out after halftime and hit 3 long touchdown passes. And you got to know that guy, Brian Billick, saw some things in the first half that gave him some opportunities in the second. And you got to wonder if he saw those again. He's a great coach at making adjustments at halftime. And they come out in the 2 tight end set and said, you know what, we're going to pound it at him a little bit in the second half with a 13-point lead.
13-0 is the score. Second down and 5, and Priest Holmes takes it to the Steelers and runs ahead for a gain of 9 yards and another first down. So the Ravens come out methodically pounding the ball at the Steelers. A missed tackle by Brent Alexander.
One of the things that happens when you run the football like this, look at the blocking up front. They just push the Steelers out of the way. All kinds of seams for Priest Holmes to find his way in. When you have an offense that can run the football effectively, and more than effectively in this case, it demoralizes your entire opponent, their whole team, their offense, their defense. You really feel like you've got no chance if you can't stop the run.
So far, they've not stopped it here in the second half. Now, Banks on a rollout. Going to take it himself. Big mobile guy at 6'4", 235 pounds. He runs it out of bounds after a gain of about 3 yards. Not wanting to risk a lot. He might have got a little more, and he turned it up the sideline.
No, you don't want to risk a lot when Jason Gilden's chasing you down. You don't want to take a chance on taking one extra step up the field and having Jason Gilden clothesline you. You end up with the back of your head hitting the turf.
Well, he's a guy that never lets up. 92, Jason Gilden. Was a defensive end at Oklahoma State. He's had 19.5 sacks as number 92 for the Steelers over the last 2 years. None today.
He plays over the tight end a lot and is a good coverage man against a big tight end.
Priest Holmes turns the corner. Shields to beat. Scott Shields finally gets him out of bounds, but he gets him out of bounds at the 18-yard line after a gain of 18 yards on the play. Lee Flowers also coming across And so the Ravens drive on as they really have taken total control of this game at this point.
And I've been in a huddle when a team is running the football like this when you're on the offense. The offensive linemen, you couldn't make them happier. They're not happier than they are right now on Christmas morning. I mean, those guys are feeling like this is great. They can't get enough of this. Jonathan Ogden, Edwin Mulatalo, Mike Flynn, all those guys, Harry Swain, they just feel so good right now they couldn't even put it into words.
And again, they go to Priest Holmes. His 21st carry of the day. He's ahead down close to the 16-yard line. Jamal Lewis comes in to get his second carry. And he's ahead for a gain of 3 yards. Holmes has 20 carries for 94 yards so far in the game. Jamal Lewis had some tough luck at the outset of training camp in a scrimmage. Dislocated his elbow, but he was back in a couple of weeks. Got some work in the last preseason game. He was a tremendous player at Tennessee. Did miss a season with a knee injury that required surgery. Fast, and he packs a punch. Hanks takes a look, throws near side, and it comes in too hard and too high for Travis Taylor. Caught 3 in the first half for 47 yards.
And that pass is on Travis Taylor. He's got to be able to turn around and make that. And Tony Banks wishes, you know, sometimes the quarterback makes a throw that's not all that perfect, but you want your receiver to kind of help you out. And I think that's what that case was. Banks could have thrown that a little better, but you got to expect Travis Taylor to pull that in.
And Taylor, it looks like a rising star. This guy's everything you could ask for in a receiver. Just the way he runs his routes when they don't go to him is impressive. He is smooth, big, rangy. Third down, 8. Banks steps up, takes a look, fires to the end zone into the wrong side of his receiver as Travis Taylor couldn't get to the ball, and so the field goal unit comes back out with the sure-footed one. Matt Stover looking to extend his consecutive field goal streak now to 21.
You see there's the receivers get down close, and you wonder why they ran the football so effectively to get down close to the end zone, down to the 15-yard line. Why did they begin to pass the football? Well, that's a strategic and a philosophical decision the coaching staff makes. The field becomes very difficult when you get down close, and it's a different philosophy and a different game plan down there.
This is a 33-yarder. It is up and good. They culminate a successful kick. Slapping hands, the holder Kyle Richardson and the kicker Matt Stover. He's hit 3 today, has Matt Stover, as the Ravens build their lead. Third quarter, 11:31 to play in it. And there is Matt Stover ready to kick off once again. High kick carries into the end zone where Hines Ward will field the ball and down it for a touchback. Art Rooney was one of the pro game's founding fathers, the owner of the Steelers, and since succeeding as president in 1975, Dan Rooney has helped build 4 world championship teams, and there he is showing his Hall of Fame ring. Here they're gathering here and got a tremendous ovation. He's been a major component, Dan Rooney, like his dad there. There's this statue of Art in building the league bigger and better. They've always admired the Rooneys, the people in the NFL, because their decisions are all based on what's best for the league. Right now, Dan Rooney's trying to ascertain what's best for the Steeler offense to get a jump started. No points, very little yardage. Free play. And Graham going on the run to an open man. Nicely done. As flying down the field is Plexico Burress, the rookie from Michigan State. He's down to the 40-yard line, a gain of 37 yards on the play, and the Steelers finally hit a big play.
Well, Plexico Burress caught his first pass of his career earlier in the first half, and now this is the one that he's going to remember. This is a great route. He has plenty of time to run it because of the
Offside,
time
defense,
that Graham bought himself in the pocket. Watch here as he comes back. Nobody grabs him. Nobody picks him up in coverage. They're not all going to be that easy, but he wishes they were. He's going to have a lot of catches, this guy, in the game. And now Graham feels like, wow, finally we get a good play on our side. Let's try and keep it going. That's what you have to do when you're struggling. Just take it one play at a time.
Down 16-0. The Steelers get their first big play of this day from quarterback Kent Graham to the rookie Plexico Burress. At first down, Jerome Bettis runs. And they give yardage so grudgingly. McCrary on the stop with Siragusa. I saw big Tony Siragusa last night, Steve, and congratulated him on his big new contract. Asked him how it feels to be rich. He said, would you like a loan? I said, how much? He said, we'll give you the jersey rate 15% a day.
He'll spend the interest on cheeseburgers.
The Goose is in the best shape I've
really
seen.
is. I say that jokingly, but he really showed up exactly where they want him. He's 335 pounds. He's a big guy, but he plays well at that weight. And you know, it sounds big, but you have to be that big to play interior defensive line in the National Football League.
Second down and 9, pitch back. Nowhere to go for Huntley. As this time McCrary comes up, there's no gap, and McCrary with all his speed runs him down from the right end position. That is an unbelievable asset. If you can run the ball on offense or stop the run on defense, or preferably be able to do both.
I think Mike McCrary played actually the entire 1999 season on virtually one leg. He had a bad knee the entire season and still made the Pro Bowl, still was a big factor in that great defense that they fielded last year. Now this year he comes in healthy, and you could just tell he just couldn't wait for the season to start. He's a guy that just is relentless.
Third and 9. The pass rush will be coming hard. They're coming with a 4-man rush. Nice throw. Nicely done by Kent Graham. They gave him time out of the shotgun. He triggers it into Bobby Shaw, a third-year receiver from Cal, who really finished strong last year. He had 25 catches in the last 7 games. That was good for 11 yards on 3rd and 10 and a first down.
Well, this is what you would love to see as a Pittsburgh Steeler. This is what you want your offense to do. Kent Graham steps up into a nice, safe, secure pocket and finds the seam in the defense. Great route by Bobby Shaw, just finding an open area and sitting down and waiting for Kent Graham to fire the ball in. That's good zone pass offense. Just find an open spot and sit down.
Graham, if he has time, is obviously he can deliver the ball. Here's another throw, a tip ball off the hands of Troy Edwards, also John Whitman, who they want to get the ball to more, both as a runner, he's not carried today, and as a receiver. He was also in the pattern. Second down and 10, ball position to the 28-yard line of the Ravens.
This is by far the best that the Steelers offense has looked all day, despite what you saw in the last play in the incomplete pass. You really feel like finally they feel like they can catch their breath now. Kent Graham's walking around much better. They're just in and out of the huddle much better. Kent Graham, 31 passing yards the entire first half, and now he's got 50 in the first series in the second half.
They go to a draw play, and Huntley on second down and 10 is shut down. The Ravens with good speed at the linebacker position. Ray Lewis coming in to make the stop. The guy who's led the NFL in tackles 2 of the last 3 seasons. He led the league in last year in 99. He also led in 97. The defensive MVP with 167 tackles. Back from an offseason acquittal on first-degree murder charges brought against him in Atlanta, and totally acquitted and in very good spirits in the hub of this defense, which is a tremendous defense. Near side throw, and the ball caroms off the hands of Bobby Shaw. Robert Bailey defending, and so now 4th down comes up. And the Steelers send out their place kicker, Chris Brown.
And this is what the Raven defense does. You catch the ball, they come up and punish you. And that's Rod Woodson, who did that for a lot of years here in Pittsburgh. But this Raven defense is so good. They get angry with each other, and they want to know what happens if the other team gets even a first down. They're looking around saying, okay, what went wrong? And they want to fix it.
Chris Brown, who beat the Ravens at Baltimore in September last year, finally gets no, it's wide. It's no good. So Chris Brown, who set an NFL record for a rookie kicker, making his first 13 field goal attempts last season, misses a straight-ahead shot. And the dilemma of the Steelers, a team with no offense and no points, continues. Ravens have the ball when we come back to Pittsburgh.
Heineken. And by American Express Small Business Services. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more.
That was the good chip lollipop. Set on the side. Right now, the good offense of the Ravens, having built a 16-0 lead, goes 1st and 10 from the 35-yard line. Banks looks, fires, overshoots, as he comes in very high to Shannon Sharp, who has caught in his career 552 balls, all with the Broncos. He's caught none so far today. His first game in the regular season with the Ravens. The big advantage for Banks, Steve, is the fact he has a coach in Billick who puts him in a system where he has an optimum chance to succeed. He'll cower with a defense trying to get the ball back.
That last offensive series there, and you see there with Brian Billick, both coaches, that's a killer for the Steelers. They could climb back in this game, get some points on the board, get some momentum, and the missed field goal just kills that emotion that they were trying to grind out.
And again, the Ravens go to the run on a 2nd down and 10 play. They advance the ball 7 yards out to the 42-yard line. Coming up next, Kickoff 2000 continues here on CBS with Game 2 of our doubleheader featuring Vinny and the Jets battling Brett Favre and the Pack from Lambeau Field in Green Bay, maybe the most famous address in football. Lambeau Field, Lombardi Drive, Green Bay, Wisconsin. He was there last Saturday. Brett Favre is not the Brett Favre of old. He's been out the whole preseason with tendonitis in his elbow. 3-time MVP. On 3rd down, a throw and a catch. And where the forward motion is spotted, it'll be a 1st down. And now penalty markers fired in from way back.
They might have thought there was contact right before the ball got there, but that was an excellent throw by Tony Banks. It was even a better catch by Qadry Ismail. Things continue to spiral downward for the Steelers here this afternoon, but on the other side of the ball, they're playing. You got to know the Steelers came in knowing this was going to be a tough game, even though they're at home and the emotion of an opening day.
Holding, defense number 20. The penalties decline. The result of the play is a 1st down.
Coming into a game like this, you have such an emotional high as the home team, and Bill Cowher, the master motivator, knowing he had to have his team pumped up and ready, but they are playing a team that is very, very tough early in the season. You see there the holding happened just before that. It wasn't interference, it was holding, keeping Ismail from coming out of his break.
So it is 1st down and 10 for the Ravens. Banks on a rollout, plants and throws deep. He's got Ian Badejo out there, but the throw comes out of his hands. He was out of bounds anyway. So it's incomplete, and that gives us a chance to go back to the NFL today in New York and Jim Nance. Jim?
All right, Don. Nope, Stacey Mack's in for Fred Taylor, missing the opener, Taylor, because of a blown knee. But look at Mack coming in, 4 yards, touchdown, and the Jags lead by 10. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
Jags, boy, they had their injury problems, although when we talked to Brian Billick yesterday, said if you're going to get injury problems, you want to get them in the preseason as long as they're not IR injuries, because you have time to regroup and set yourself before opening day.
Plenty of time to get set for the opening day. Plus, you have plenty of time to, hold your own in the half season and make a run at the playoffs in the 2nd half of the year if you guys are out that long. Yeah, you're right. If you're going to have injuries, have them early, because later in the season the games count big anyway.
Billick for 6 years was the offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. 1 year he had the highest scoring team there in NFL history.
Unforgettable.
Jones doing a little bike riding after his special teams work. Brian Billick told us yesterday the key to playing the Steelers is to run the ball well and to hit some big plays. And they've done both. They've rushed for 106 yards to 17 yards for the Steelers rushing. And they hit the big play, the long touchdown pass to Qadry Ismail.
He also said one of the things that they need to do is, and it's been made a big deal has been made of it in Baltimore, he wants Tony Banks and this offense to complete one more pass each half than they did last year, the last 10 games that Tony Banks started last year, without trying to attempt any more attempts. And I think today Tony Banks has done that. He's been efficient, he's been strong in the pocket. Their running game obviously has helped. But Brian Billick has to be happy with the way his offense has performed.
You're up 16-0 on opening day on the road. You're happy, you're ecstatic. Here's a throw and a catch. Ian Badejo makes the catch. And he doesn't get the ball thrown to him often. Appreciates when he does, and he's ahead for a gain on the play of only about 3 yards. So it brings up 4th down, and the punter comes out, Kyle Richardson for Baltimore. And another, I think all the players that they added to the Ravens roster, Steve, one who looks like he's going to be a real keeper down the line is the rookie quarterback they got in the 3rd round out of University of Louisville, Chris Redmond, who had a terrific summer. He might have been the best quarterback they had in the preseason.
When the Ravens came in and had a nice little kickoff luncheon there in Baltimore, they said, the Jets are going to be very upset and they're going to regret taking Chad Pennington over Chris Redmond. They think Chris Redmond is going to be very special.
Well, he set some NCAA all-time records at Louisville, and of course, The greatest Colt of them all, Johnny Unitas, is a Louisville man, and he's gotten close to Chris Redman. That's not a bad counselor, a mentor.
When Johnny's in your corner, things can't be all bad.
Great place. I like your neighborhood.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Tyco International Limited. Do you know Tyco? And by Coca-Cola. Enjoy.
The Steelers still without points on this opening day. There is Chris Redman, who won the Unitas Award, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, as the top college quarterback. Might get some time here, loosening up. Graham airs out a long ball. Going for it is Plexico Burress. And very good coverage on the play. So there is Dwayne Starks breaking it up. This fall on CBS, if you think dead men tell no... Steelers still trying to power the ball, and the former Steeler Rod Woodson comes up from the free safety to make the stop.
That's something you don't see with other defenses very much. You have defensive backs like Rod Woodson. He's done it a couple of times. They step up in the run game and make tackles in the backfield. It's something I think they do. It's not a called blitz, but they gamble once in a while. They know formations of their opponents, and when they get into certain formations, they know there's a very small chance that they're going to throw, or certain personnel combinations. That's what comes from experience. When you know or have a good feeling that they're not going to throw the football, run up and try and make a tackle, because the offensive line can't account for defensive backs in the backfield.
They're going to throw now on 3rd down and 10. Woodson has 54 career interceptions, 9 run back for touchdowns. Graham takes a look, and the heat's on. Big pressure coming from Sam Adams. Graham now 8 of 18 for 81 yards, and the fumble that led to the first points of the game, a field goal.
One of the things that you talk about with this defense, how good is this Baltimore defense? Well, this is the 1974 Steeler defense, widely considered one of the great defenses to ever play. And they do hold their own. They're much better against the rush than the Steelers were at that time. But that Steelers 74 defense was something special.
I'll tell you, people were afraid of them. That's how fierce they were. I mean, I saw a team quit against them one day. They didn't want to take any more of them.
I'm telling you what, you come into this stadium. I played here on the Monday night games, and I'm telling you what, you want no part of this team when it's on.
The team was the Chiefs. Opening day 2000 at Three Rivers Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Josh Miller's ready to put up his 6th punt of the day for the as yet scoreless Steelers. Hits the ball downfield. Going after it at the 33-yard line is Jermaine Lewis. Looks for the far sideline, and Huntley quickly bumps him out of bounds. The Ravens with a very tough start to the season. Their coaches call it the journey. They play 5 of their first 7 on the road.
I think Brian Billick has to be happy with his running game today, which is, you know, when there's so many question marks surrounding your quarterback as there are Tony Banks, your running game is kind of a plus. And Tony Banks, I think, is a beneficiary of that. He's finally feeling some continuity with this offense. For the first time in his professional career, he has the same head coach, same offensive coordinator, same quarterback coach for 2 years in a row. And I think the coaching staff believes that's going to make all the difference for him. He's 14 of 24 today for 165 yards. And that's right about where he would like to be. Obviously, he'd like to complete all of them, but I think he's very happy with his production so far.
He's been under control. No turnovers. Some rated him a chronic fumbler early in his career. Now the handoff to Priest Holmes as he works to stay in bounds. He is knocked down for a loss on the play by cornerback Dwayne Washington. Now we go back to the NFL today in New York. Jim.
All right, Don, a couple of updates. First, the Chiefs have tied the Colts. First, it was Manning to Edgerrin James for the lead, but now it's Gerback to Alexander. 3rd down pass play completes a 76-yard drive. 14 all. But meanwhile, over at the Meadowlands, a 25-minute weather delay now because of lightning. The teams are called back to the locker room. They're going to resume play in about 5 minutes. Let's go back to Don and Steve.
That's something you don't see every day, a weather delay in the National Football League.
No, rarely. With the lightning in the area, you got to take them off the field and get the fans inside if they can. Connery Ismail makes a first down catch of 14 yards. Taken down by Chad Scott. Ismail, it's just remarkable. You talked, Steve, about 2 years. He couldn't have any catches. Then last year exploded. While you watch the game, log on to NFL.com and track the stats of all your favorite players. www.nfl.com. Ismail off to a great start. Kadri Ismail, 5 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. Back to the run. And Priest Holmes, a very durable 5'9", 205 pounds, continues to pound the ball at the Steelers, running the clock.
You know, this offense with Priest Holmes running the football today, I mean, almost reminiscent of the Cowboys of the mid-90s. They've got Priest Holmes running. He'll gain 3 yards before he gets touched. You see there in the 5 previous games against the Steelers, he only had 46.2 yards average. Today he's got 102. He likes today a little better than the 5 previous games. But that, you know, you used to see teams like those old Cowboy teams, you know, the running back runs through looks like a garage door. That's what Priest Holmes is running through today. Really running well, this offense.
Yeah, Ravens really coming out the ball. Now Banks throws, and it's incomplete at the 15-yard line. He was shooting at Ben Coates, big tight end from the Patriots. One thing about Shannon Sharp, now he hasn't figured prominently in the offensive production today, but he's a guy at 235 pounds that Billick can line up all over the field. Talked about Billick being happy with his team. I think his team is happy with Billick.
Oh, I think so too. There's almost not enough footballs to go around, but he can find a way to get everybody the football. Shannon Sharp is one of those guys, the rare guys who can line up tight as a tight end, help the offensive line in the run game, but you could split him out wide as a wide receiver. He's got that kind of mobility, and that's a huge plus for an offensive coordinator.
3rd down and 5. Banks takes a look, makes the throw. The connection is made as the ball is gunned downfield to Travis Taylor, and a 6-yard gain on the play. Going to be close to a 1st down on 4th down arising. If he didn't get there, we'll see where they marked the ball.
They marked it well past, and that's one of the things.
He's got it.
It's difficult as a defense because the offensive players don't really call a specific route. They say, okay, you're going to run out and hook up, but wherever the sticks are, that's where you're going to hook up. And so you know you get the distance for the 1st down, and the defense hasn't seen that depth of route before because it's wherever the sticks are, that's where you're going to sit down, and they executed it perfectly.
1st down and 10 for the Ravens. In command from the outset. Back to the run, straight ahead carry, and Jamal Lewis, the rookie, takes it ahead for a gain of about 7 yards. When Art Modell hired Brian Billick 2 years ago, he extended him a 6-year contract. Art Modell said, "I've been in the football business a long time. I don't pass out 6-year contracts without expecting a lot." And the early returns are very good.
Yeah, Brian Billick is impressive. You sit down and talk with him, he has got an answer for every question, and not only an answer, it's part of the plan. I mean, he has got a plan for every situation, and he is a true leader of this football team, and that's what you want in a head coach.
Turning wide is Ian Badejo, and he's run out of bounds. He starts heading west instead of south.
He headed off the map. And he was stopped right at the point of attack, got bounced back in the backfield, and then when he's tried to make something happen, you see there he gets hit in the face right there. Then you just got to try and make something happen. Defense is all over it, though, and that's, you know, when you get in the NFL, it's tough to outrun people because defensive players in the NFL, they draft them because they're fast. I don't care if they're 335 or 190, they can run.
That is the name of the game, speed. Remember Dan Reeves saying one time during a strike here, the replacement players looked just as big, just as good in football uniforms, but he said when it came to speed, it was like they were playing in sand. You're watching the NFL on CBS. A message now from your local station.
How did this odd
16-0 Ravens over the Steelers on opening day in Pittsburgh. Don Criqui with Steve Tasker in a very workmanlike performance by quarterback Tony Banks. Hit 16 of 27 so far, 185 and a touchdown.
And plus he's got Priest Holmes 22 carries for 102. This is an offense that is really living up to the preseason billing, and that's sometimes a problem. When you win all your preseason games, you're expected to play well.
Banks hit as he delivers the ball, incomplete on a 3rd down and 10 play. So a kicking team now comes out for the Ravens here early in the 4th quarter.
And this is what happens. If you throw the ball enough times, even if you're having a good game, you're going to take some shots like this. Tony Banks has been on the ground 2 or 3 times, but that was a fairly nonchalant hit there on the quarterback. You can take those. And Brian Billick, he never stops coaching. He's got something to say about everything. He's a players, you talk to him, and he's a very hands-on guy.
High punt. Their catch signal for and made by Bobby Shaw back at the 12-yard line. Yeah, we asked Shannon Sharp the difference between Mike Shanahan at Denver and Billick. He said Shanahan really kind of leaves certain areas of the team to the position coaches. He says Billick is involved in everything. It was just 5 years ago. The Steelers were in the AFC Championship game, which they won here. They went out and lost to Dallas in the Super Bowl at Tempe, Arizona. But now the Steelers are really getting nowhere. Bettis today 8 carries for 11 yards. Remember that Super Bowl back in January of '96 after the '95 season? Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship game.
And this is how they got there. The incomplete pass. You remember the Colts in the championship game under Ted Marchibroda. And there Bill Cowher realizes he got his team to his first Super Bowl.
And the Cowboys beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 30 at Tempe 27-17.
A lot of good players on that football team. Now he's got some good players, but they're unproven.
Graham throws and makes a connection with Bruner, but he drops the ball as he turned the ball right on the numbers. It was Graham's best throw of this game.
He threw that very well. And you think these are the guys that are left from that team that went to the Super Bowl in 1995. 6 guys. And that's the way of the NFL in this day and age.
We saw the bus breaking down, that graphic of the bus breaking down. That's been the case against the Ravens in the last 3 games versus this Ravens defense. Bettis has rushed for 46 yards, 39 yards, 41 yards, and today 8 carries for 11 yards. They just slammed the door, and now Bruner, after dropping the pass, leaves early. So the Steelers on offense come a cropper on this scoreless day for them.
Yeah, they're struggling now. It's getting more. They get into third and long.
87. Half the distance to the goal. It remains 3rd down.
And that's what happens. You're down. You haven't scored. Your offense is struggling. It's late in the game, and you're trying to make something positive happen. And you start pressing. The lack of concentration becomes evident because you're thinking about making a play instead of thinking about your exact assignment. In that case, that's what happened.
The Steelers will have a week off to regroup. Their bye week is next Sunday. Next game is September 17th at Cleveland. Ravens return home to Baltimore to play Jacksonville in their home opener next Sunday. Jacksonville leading at Cleveland 20-7 right now. Here's a throw and a beautifully caught ball by Plaxico Burress. So on 3rd and long yardage, 3rd and 18, they gain 22 yards and a first down to the Steelers.
I'll tell you what, that was an impressive route and catch by Plaxico Burress. Watch as he comes out. King Graham's going to have plenty of time to throw this, which is, key number 1. Lets the ball go. Thrown out of your end zone is no fun. You see there how Plaxico reached back, pulled the ball in. That's difficult as a receiver. You come out of that break, you expect the ball ahead of you. To have the presence of mind to put the brakes on, reach back and catch that pass softly like that. It's an impressive job.
They go to a draw play, and running with the ball is the smaller, quicker Richard Huntley. And he gets ahead across the 30-yard line, so on a first down play, he's ahead for a gain of about 6 yards.
And one of the things you think about, bad snap there for Kent Graham to reach up and get, but he does get the ball to Huntley. You think, there's so much been said about Graham and Cordell Stewart being the guys here in Pittsburgh who he may be in, he may be out. You got to think about Jerome Bettis and Richard Huntley. Huntley has been impressive when he's seen duty and spot duty, and the bus has not looked impressive. Do they make a change there? They may.
2nd down and 5, really a long 4. Here's a throw and a catch, first down. As the ball is taken in by Bobby Shaw. Troy Edwards has disappeared in this Pittsburgh offense, did nothing all summer, and has done nothing today, and they fed Bobby Shaw in there as he makes a big play for first down.
And we've seen this is a second series of the day that we've seen Pittsburgh actually move the football effectively. And and Huntley has played a role in both of those series, and so has Kent Graham. He's been able to complete his passes and has had time to throw. That's been the difference.
Troy Edwards to the lower left of your screen. They're going to try to get him soon. Here's a long ball downfield. Burris loses it at the 3-yard line. Long ball, but no connection. Dwayne Starks, undersized against the 6'6" Plaxico Burris. I think they go to that matchup more.
Yeah, you see this. Watch as Plaxico Burris comes down. And, you know, you see that Steeler uniform going on. It looks like that Super Bowl catch by Lynn Swann, but he can't pull it in. You've seen Lynn Swann make that play so many times on film. And yet Plaxico Burris in his first game as a Steeler can't pull that in. That was that's what the guy can do. Plaxico is a big, tall receiver, and that's what quarterbacks love to do. Just throw it up, give the guy a chance.
They say he can win the jump balls. He certainly did in the Big Ten. Now here's a handoff, and not much going on 2nd down and 10. Trying to catch the Ravens in a pass rush. The Steelers go to the run, and it's quickly shut down by a big defensive tackle, Lionel Dalton, along with Peter Bulware, who of course is coming off off-season shoulder surgery.
Now that defense they're giving nothing away on the ground. You saw for a moment, and I mentioned it, that Huntley was having a little bit of success. Well, now the defense has caught up to him as well. He's struggling just as much as Jerome Bettis was in the backfield, but now Pittsburgh's running that spread offense, which is Huntley's personnel package. He's going to stay in there with Graham in the backfield.
The Steeler rushing numbers, Steve, are abysmal. 18 yards rushing today for the Steelers. On 3rd down, Graham makes a throw and a connection. Bobby Shaw comes off the flank, turns out, and on 3rd and long, they connect on a 17-yard play. There's no question the Steeler offense is at its very best. It hasn't really been great today, but out of the shotgun.
Well, one of the things that's going on here, the receivers for the Steelers are young, but they're inexperienced. They are immensely talented. They've got a stable of young players at the wide receiver position. If they can just give them time to develop, they are going to be something special. Plaxico Burris, Troy Edwards, Malcolm Johnson, Heinz Ward, Bobby Shaw, all those guys can really play.
Now they go to the draw. Look at the Richard Huntley bust ahead as he takes it inside the 30-yard line. So here, with a lot of time left in the 4th quarter, 10:40 to play in the game, the Steeler offense starts to come alive somewhat. That was a 12-yard gain.
And Richard Huntley limps off the field, but watch here, and this is what happens. You've thrown the ball, thrown the ball, thrown the ball. The front 4 of the Ravens, you say, all right, I'm going to get the guy this time. I'm going to get a sack. And then they just hand the ball off and let the rush run right past the running back.
Graham again fires hard, and look at the play by Bruner. He had the drop followed by the illegal motion, and now Mark Bruner comes off the flank and makes a tremendous play, a diving catch for a 23-yard gain, and the Steelers are challenging 1st down and goal.
Mark Bruner is the best run-blocking tight end in the National Football League. You saw him drop one earlier, but this is a great catch, and this is what they need from him. He's a great run blocker, but they need him to produce more like this in the passing game. If he can do that, that will be one more way for them to take the pressure off a running game that has struggled all day.
Now, as the 11th play of the drive is coming up, Graham, not wanting to anything to go wrong with a terrific scoring opportunity, calls a timeout.
I'm sorry to drag you in here on a Sunday.
Has everything you need for your business at guaranteed low prices. And by the world's most popular ATVs, Honda, best on earth.
And back to live action at Three River Stadium. 1st down and goal from just outside the Ravens 5. Graham looks, throws, and has to throw it away. Kent Graham is a traveling man. He was looking at Plaxico Burris. Actually started, Kent Graham did, at Notre Dame and didn't play behind Tony Rice. Transferred to Ohio State, where he didn't start till he was a senior.
Yeah, one thing about Graham, he's been sacked a lot, and one of the reasons is he's not very nifty in the pocket. He bought himself a couple of times today, but that's not his game. He needs to stand back there and be able to survey the field. That was a heads-up play getting rid of the ball late, and it helped him give them a chance to stay in close at 2nd and 5.
Let's see what he goes to now. On 2nd and goal, they go to the draw play. And Richard Huntley, an undrafted free agent 4 years ago out of Winston-Salem, is Stop by the quickness in that Raven defense. Peter Boulware made the stop. 2 Pro Bowls in his 3 years in the league prior to this.
One of the things that happens when you get down close, the defense changes, and therefore the offense has to change as well because the field changes. And the offense plays the field, and the defense, you know, it's their job just to think about the offense, but the offense has to think about the field shrinking. They don't have any place to run. So everything changes down there. Philosophies change, play selection changes.
Yeah, let's see what the play selection is here on 3rd and goal from the shotgun. Graham makes a look. He's in trouble. Throws. Isn't it? No, they're going to wave it off. Hines Ward made the catch, but the official right there ruled that his feet weren't in bounds.
There's a late flag coming right in at the point where the ball was caught. He caught that ball airborne going out of bounds.
Thing of beauty.
It was a great catch. What a throw by Graham under extreme duress.
Yeah, with Sam Adams was coming at him. The call is going to go against the Ravens, though.
Pass interference, defense.
First down.
Number 35. That's an automatic first down.
Watch as Kent Graham buys himself some time. Now watch his throws this out of Graham. It turns out to be a perfect throw and great catch. What a great catch by Hines Ward at the corner of the end zone. It was out of bounds, but
look who's in the game now. Cordell Stewart comes in the game. So Slash making his first appearance in the goal line offense. Cordell Stewart on 1st and goal from the 1. Handoff. The bus tried to cut back, spun and fell, and it'll be 2nd and goal from the 2.
He was thumped in the backfield by Lionel Dalton. Cordell Stewart gives you so much as an athlete. We thought maybe he might come in situations like this one, but that's what he does. He can make something out of nothing. He gives you the defense kind of a shift in their thinking and picks up the offense knowing they've got a special package in just for him that takes advantage of his abilities.
Cordell rolling out. Dodges tacklers, makes a throw, and it comes in short as he was hit hard just as he released the ball. And Cordell, he doesn't have to do anything more than miss one completion, and the crowd kicks in against him. Cordell in his 6th year out of Colorado.
That's a tough situation to put him in on, but this is what, you know, he has done. This is a guy that can make a yard on his own, and they want to give him the opportunity to do that in a game where you've been shut out. You know, you're going to take some chances. Bill Cowher, he makes these calls by his gut. That's it. And his teammate and his team knows it. I mean, they know it's up to him completely and him alone.
Let's see if he goes with his best play, the quarterback draw. Ball was on the field. It was a fumbled snap, it looked like. Ravens signaling they have it. The official says no. The Steelers got it back. But it brings up 4th down now.
The Steelers are going to go for it.
You've got to go for it. Down 16-0 in the 4th quarter.
No reason to pull them off the field now. And they're going to send in 4 wide receivers.
The Steeler offense has been effective one way today. One way only, and that is when Kent Graham has been in the shotgun.
You see the roar. Kent Graham's back in the game. He's going to call a timeout. Kent Graham running back down to the field, and the crowd loves it. And now Graham calls a timeout. They've got the spread offense in there.
The shotgun set gives Graham that extra split second to search out a receiver. We'll see what they do when we come back.
Now's the best time to buy the best.
Got his hands on it, and that in and of itself is going to make changing quarterbacks. That last series of 3 plays is going to make Kent Graham feel a little bit better about him staying on the football field for the rest of the season.
The Steelers on an 88-yard, 15-play drive, but this is 4th down. Graham looks, he throws, and he tried to throw a jump ball for Plexico Burress, but the cornerback was right on him. Chris McAllister had to leave the game a bit earlier to get some more fluids in him. He had some cramping problems. So the Steelers get down close, but can't take it in. Graham fires, but way too high.
1-800-COLLECT presents Avis.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by 1-800-COLLECT, the easy way to save. And by Adidas, who invites you to experience the new SL for yourself, only at Foot Locker.
Well, the Steelers get their best drive. In fact, they have outgained the Ravens here in the second half in total yardage. But so what if you're down 16-0 and can't take it in? And the fourth down throw was errant. And now the Ravens look to get some room to work. And they go back to the terrific little runner, Priest Holmes. Monday on CBS, don't miss the show that's truly interactive, Big Brother, where you get to decide which house guest stays and which one goes. All new Big Brother, Monday on CBS.
You really have to question Bill Cowher's decision. I know it's easy to do that after it was unsuccessful, but putting Cordell Stewart in after they just run a 15-play, 88-yard drive and putting him in, you get the feeling Cowher just wants to see Cordell Stewart have a little bit of success at some point this season, but I don't think that was the proper time to put him in the game.
And right back to power football, right back to the run, and the very productive Priest Holmes taking it straight ahead of the Steeler defense, weaving out to the 15-yard line, so he gets him out of jail, and with a first down of the 15, even Henry and Fiala were on the stop. As you look at Priest Holmes now, terrific day, 24 carries, 109 yards. Anytime you got one back carrying 24 times, a pretty good chance you're going to win.
There were a lot of questions coming in opening day, and the Ravens have answered every question that they had in the preseason. Would Tony Banks play well? Yes, he did. Would they be able to play both tight ends at the same time and be effective? Yes. Would they have a running game? Yes. Would their defense play good? Yes. They have played extremely well in all phases.
All this on the road. Here is a swing pass. And again, they get the ball in the hands of Priest Holmes, who was ahead for a gain of 7 yards on the play. Well, a while since the Steelers were shut out at home here at Three Rivers Stadium. Last time back in 1989 by the same franchise, then the Cleveland Browns. What history's been written here in pro football, though, at Three Rivers Stadium over the 30 years. It's been the home of 4 Steeler World Championship teams.
That last shutout was a 51-0 thumping by that Browns team.
18 playoff games have been competed here at the Three Rivers Stadium. 7 times the AFC Championship game has been played here. 5 times the Steelers won that game and went to the Super Bowl. 2nd and 3 and straight ahead.
We were talking to Dan Rooney, the president of the Steelers, just before the game, and I said, so how is it? You know, what about this last opening day in Three Rivers? Are you excited? He says, well, if we're successful in the next stadium as we were in this one, we'll take it.
There's a tremendous stadium going up. It'll be ready for play next fall. Right next to Three Rivers Stadium, a new 65,000 state-of-the-art stadium.
This is for a long time, this was the stadium of NFL football with this franchise. You saw this stadium on television. You grew up with it. There's a lot of history here.
3rd and short. And big Tony Banks at 6'4", 235. He takes it ahead for a first down.
You want to know where the new stadium's going to be, and you get a look across the river. There's the Three Rivers that we're in right now, and there is the new stadium under construction right there. And it's going to be a beauty. It is going to be magnificent.
You have to be good to equal the one the Ravens play in. That's the best press box in football for the announcer.
They're all good these days. I think it's so nice. I mean, I know that there's a lot of criticism about how many new stadiums and how many taxpayer dollars are going to pay for them and all of that. But I'm telling you what, these new stadiums are things of beauty. They're good centerpieces for these cities who put them up.
Priest Holmes, he is a tough customer, not big, but he keeps taking hits. Kimo van Olhoffen makes the initial hit. And the Ravens do what they want to do most, and that's run the clock down to 4:06 and ticking, holding to a 16-0 lead. As they have just workmanlike way built their lead from 3-0 to 10-0. 2 more field goals by Matt Stover have extended the lead now to 16-0. So Ravens, who came in with their defense talking shutout, have got one going.
They came into Pittsburgh, blue-collar town with a team, and got a blue-collar win today.
Oh, and a catch. And on 2nd and 9, the game is ahead for about 7 yards. Andre Ismail makes another catch. He's over 100 yards catching now.
I think one of the things you have to think about if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, they have a bye week coming up. They don't have a game next week. This is going to sit on them for 2 full weeks. The way that they played today, they couldn't score any points. They gave up a lot of yards to a pretty good offense. But it's going to be a wake-up call for them. I think they're going to rededicate themselves to this season. It's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with for 2 weeks, and I think it's tough to do when you're a player.
That's a long way till the next time out against the Browns, and here is a throw and a catch and a first down as Banks continues now waving it off. The ball got out of his hands. Kadri Ismail with 7 catches for 102 yards today. Ravens all-time starting quarterbacks. Vinny Testaverde had the most starts.
Looks like Tony Banks is going to be the guy here for a while, and you wonder how fortunes change. Vinny Testaverde booed out of Baltimore and goes to New York with a new start and plays extremely well and is the franchise guy there now. You hope the same thing here happens for Tony Banks coming over from St. Louis.
Punt hit downfield. Troy Edwards comes up on it, makes the fair catch at the 25-yard line. And there, the Steelers will go on offense perhaps for the last time. 3:21 left to play. Tonight on 60 Minutes, there's no world leader that Al Gore and George Bush would rather have a heart-to-heart talk with than the man Mike Wallace has a heart-to-heart talk with, the president of China, tonight on 60 Minutes. Followed by a powerful touch by an angel. Then Christopher Reeve and Judith Light star in the CBS Sunday night movie A Step Toward Tomorrow. All tonight on CBS. Where on January 28th, 2001 on CBS, Super Bowl 35 will be played. And the Ravens, off an unbeaten preseason and now a shutout so far on opening day, certainly have established themselves as legitimate contenders. Troy Edwards goes way up for the ball but can't come down with it. Cut by Bailey and McAllister.
You see the frustration there on Troy Edwards, but on the other side, you got to feel good if you're Robert Bailey making that play. He doesn't know the ball's gone, but you got to take that shot. You got to hope the ball pops out when he hits the ground if he did catch it. But Troy Edwards has struggled today. He's a guy that wants to be a go-to guy on this team and just has not done it thus far in the preseason or this opening day.
Graham on 2nd down and 10 makes the throw and a connection as Bobby Shaw comes across the field, catches the ball on the 32-yard line. Gain on the play of about 7 yards.
There's Marvin Lewis, the defensive coordinator of the Ravens. I spoke to him yesterday. I said, okay, what's your concern? What's your biggest scare about tomorrow? He said, my guys, I just don't want them to get too excited and try to do too much. I got a bunch of great players, and I just don't want them to all try and win the game on their own.
Yeah, he was saying they were just so ready to play, they couldn't wait for 1 o'clock on Sunday. Lexico Burris makes another grab for the Steelers for a 10-yard gain.
Marvin Lewis is a guy that he's a kind of low-key defensive coordinator, but he's got 4 of the 5 Pro Bowlers that came off this team this last year were on his side of the ball, starting with Ray Lewis, Rod Woodson, McCrary, Bullware. Of course, Jonathan Ogden was the Pro Bowler on the offensive side, but he has got some players over there to coach.
Lexico Burris has got 4 passes today for 76 yards. A very nice start for the Steelers' #1 draft choice. Steelers got down close. They had it 1st and goal from just outside the Ravens' 5-yard line, but couldn't get it in. They put Cordell Stewart in when they got it. Then they had it 1st and goal at the 1-yard line after the interference call, personal foul.
Graham got cracked there. That's no fun. I mean, late in the game, you know you're going to drop back to pass. The defense knows you're going to drop back to pass, and they're going to come after you. Kent Graham's got to stand in there and take that kind of punishment. And hopefully, if you've got a veteran team, you know that. But these young guys, you hope they still run their patterns right. You still hope they come out there with a little bit of pride and run their routes hard.
Graham throws. Nicely done. Gets the ball over the middle to Richard Huntley. Works ahead. Fumbles the ball. They're going to rule that he was down at the 48-yard line. Steve Tasker, what's your assessment of the Steelers? Do you think they're just lacking in talent to the level that they can't compete with a team like the Ravens?
I think they're just lacking in continuity. I mean, Kent Graham made some good throws today, but I think we spoke to him during the week, and he says, I'm just not quite sure where my receivers are going to be when they come out of the breaks. He goes, I think my offensive line will play well enough, although he's taken some hits today. I think Kent Graham can be efficient in this offense, but Kent's a guy who's been with 4 or 5 teams. He's lost the starting job in 2 of those 5 places. So, what to say that he's going to come in and be a franchise-type quarterback, I think that's asking a little too much. But he does have some talent over there. He's 15 for 31, so he's under 50%, 179 yards. But he did not throw an interception, and he took some heat today. He's a veteran quarterback who, he's got confidence in what he can do, but I think this offense has just got to find itself a little bit. They've got enough talent.
Now his arm is hit as he tries to deliver the ball downfield, and it's almost intercepted at the 48-yard line, but it goes as an incomplete pass. Big Sam Adams, number 1 draft choice of Seattle back in '94, now a free agent with the Ravens, makes the play. Words of Ray Lewis, their middle linebacker. So far, that's all that's up there. It is a doubleheader day on most of these CBS stations on opening day as Graham has another ball tipped, trying to get it away. Keith Washington, 93, and Rob Burnett got a piece of it. The New York Jets versus the Green Bay Packers is coming up next. Denny and the Jets under new coach Al Groh, and the Green Bay Packers under a new coach Mike Sherman. That's all coming up next. 1:50 left to play. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS are Sean McManus and Terry Ewert. The coordinating director is Larry Cavallina. Today's game was produced by Jim Rickoff and directed by J.D. Hansen. The senior producer of the NFL Today is Eric Mann, and the director is Bob Mattina. Coordinating producer of CBS Sports is Harold Bryant. The associate director of today's game was Sean Robbins. The broadcast associates were Jonathan Siegel and Joseph Gonzalez. The technical manager was Jim Baker, and we thank them all. CBS statistician Bill George totaling the numbers as the Ravens continue to run the clock now down to 1:45 to play, and the timeout is called by the Steelers.
Pittsburgh takes their last timeout on 1:45 to go in the game. This is the best time of the game if you're a Baltimore Raven, because once this season starts, you can forget the preseason. This is a game where you can enjoy the moment. The game is won. You can have fun with it, because as soon as the final gun goes off and you get to the locker room, you're not thinking about the Pittsburgh Steelers anymore. You're thinking about next week, getting ready, and the stress begins to build all over again. So while the game's going on now, you enjoy it while you can, because the season goes by in a flash and you've got to play hard every week.
Well, the journey, as Brian Billick calls it, continues next week. They do play at home to the Ravens, 5 of their first 7 games on the road, and they play the defending divisional champion, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are currently pulling away at Cleveland.
And that's the way it goes. You go to bed tonight and it's Pittsburgh Sunday, and you wake up tomorrow and it's Jacksonville Monday, and it all starts again.
Leading Steeler rusher today has just 31 yards. That's Huntley. Here's a throw down the field as they're looking at Shannon Sharp. They want to get him a ball.
That was a poor throw.
I don't know if that'll be remembered fondly in Pittsburgh.
Look at Shannon. He's laughing. He's like, "Oh, come on! I was there, man. Give me a touchdown." That was a big play. If Tony Banks can put that ball. Look at Tony's laughing. The game's won. He can laugh about those now, but that's the kind of throw you got to make.
Thanks to our spotter, John Butera, as we look at Tony Banks' numbers. In the last 12 years, Brian Billick pointed out, one quarterback has won a Super Bowl that had under 59% completion average for the season. That was John Elway in '97. So he wants to get Tony Banks from 52% to 60%. Then you have a real legitimate chance to go the distance. Ravens did not allow a 100-yard rusher all of last season, and they're starting out like there's not going to be any this year.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
I think the most encouraging development for the Ravens in this game, without question, was the play of Tony Banks. I mean, he did everything that was expected in the Billick system.
Yeah, he completed the passes they wanted completed. Now, he missed some throws down the field, and you still find him not setting his feet. He's not quite at the 59% yet. He's like a 56%, 18 of 32. So he can still improve and hit some of those passes. For instance, the one he just missed to Shannon Sharp.
Handoff goes to the highly regarded rookie Jamal Lewis from Tennessee, the 5th player picked overall in the 1st round. And he runs the ball ahead for a gain of 8 yards. Hunter Kyle Richardson comes out. As the game clock now winds down, as you see, to 1:16 left to play. Troy Edwards is back to return the punt for the Steelers. Steelers in the preseason were 3-2.
One of the few teams who had 5 preseason games, playing one of them in Mexico City. which is that's a tough road trip, believe me.
You been down there with the Bills?
No, I've talked to a lot of players who've played in Mexico City, and they don't stay overnight. They go down, they play the game, they come home. They want to get them in and out of there as fast as possible. And
you got a good-sized fan base. They estimate there are 35 million people in Mexico City, but it could be 45 million because it extends nonstop for 100 miles. That's the biggest city in the world. That's where we're at with the 16-0 game in the fourth quarter. Fourth down comes up. Kyle Richardson ready to punt. Ball is boomed. Troy Edwards lets it hop. Man. Let's see, they're going to rule the officials. It's amazing how they're in position. Is right there to rule that the ball was knocked back by Corey Harris.
That's a great play. That's tough to do. That's James Trapp who was down there, and that's difficult to do. Watch here. You have to run by the returner, be convinced that he's not going to catch the ball. Watch how
Corey Harris then down.
What a great play that is. What a great play that is. That's so difficult to do. James Trapp, the longtime Raider, making that play, just grabbing it to get enough on it to keep it out of the end zone and make sure it bounces out. It's a lucky bounce, but that's huge. Now it's instead of 80 yards, they've got to go 99 yards to score. That's that's what special teams is all about. The offense walks out and they huddle up in the back of their own end zone, and then they've got Baltimore Raven fans in the back of their end zone yelling at them in their own huddle in their own stadium.
Only NFL team to play 5 of their first 7 on the road to open this season. Ball comes in high to Malcolm Johnson, incomplete.
Here's that statistic again. This is a team that with Ray Lewis, they're going to play 5 of their first 7 games on the road. Now, conversely, they've got a lot of home games down the stretch, and if they have to widen their lead or if teams are trying to catch them, that's a huge boost in the second half of the year. The way they're playing right now, especially given their health, they're healthy now, which is good to go on the road. You've got all your guys to play with.
And Graham gets time, fires it out over the middle. It's Hines Ward running for the sideline, trying to keep hope alive, although it was long gone. Opening day in the NFL, every team starting with a clean slate. Now the Ravens ready to go to 1-0. The Steelers to 0-1 in this divisional game.
And there have been teams who have lost big on opening day and still actually made it to the Super Bowl. 49ers being one of them, and other teams as well. But you always want to start the season on a positive note, and the Steelers aren't going to be able to do that here today.
A throw and a catch by Hines Ward out to the 21-yard line. Robert Bailey makes the stop. Now the game clock winding down inside of 10 seconds to play. So the Steelers getting set for a week off, a bye week, and then on to Cleveland. While the Jacksonville Jaguars will be hooking up with the Ravens next Sunday at Baltimore in a very big AFC Central game.
Yeah, you can't get a bigger game for these two teams. This is Baltimore coming in wanting to be one of the elite teams, and Jacksonville, who's been one of the elite teams for 5 years, or 4 or 5 years since their second year. They're in the championship game. They're a perennial playoff team who struggled early, and I think this year, if you want to beat Jacksonville, catch them early, because they've struggled in the preseason. They are not going to be as together as they normally would be.
Last play capsulizes the game. Kent Graham hit hard as he releases the ball. Incomplete, and that will do it. Peter Boulware was on the rush. So we thank you for joining us. Don Crickey for Steve Tasker, as the Ravens open with a 16-0 lead on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tony Banks coming to the sideline. There is his coach, Brian Billick. Boy, they should be well pleased.
Much bigger things on store for the Baltimore Ravens. You can tell they're very happy today in opening day.
Watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 35.